This is the Townsend Finance Committee, Tuesday, December 10th, and call the meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. Just in case Sam comes in, I guess we'll still do the roll call.
General Bezikas,
Dave Walker.
Mary Jane Churchman.
Carol Hofstas,
And Don Hayes. And that's 5 members on board, so we have a quorum, so we are good to continue. The meeting is being recorded, and it will be played back on Channel 9, and it's also available on the Townsend YouTube channel for viewing there on demand. Item 4 from the preliminaries, additions or deletions. So maybe it's going to come under correspondence. I have nothing. Nothing to add. The opera projects we'll just touch on when we get there. There hasn't been action on that. That's going to be at Thursday's meeting with the Board of Selectmen. At the meeting for Thursday to discuss it, and changes are planned for that and how it responds. With that, I had 2 meeting minutes that I put in the packet for tonight to review. And if they're good, we can approve and get them. So we'll start with the minutes from November 12th.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from November 12th. I'll second it.
Okay, we had a motion to approve the minutes from November 12th and a second. Any additional discussion or questions? None being heard. Roll call vote.
General Bezikas, yes.
Dave Walker, yes.
Mary Jane Churchman, yes.
Carol Hofstas, yes.
And Don Hayes, yes. Unanimous. Okay. All right, I'm just going to share them. Next is the minutes from November 26th.
Make a motion to accept the minutes from November 26th. And I'll second it.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. There's no changes recommended, so we'll accept as is. A roll call vote.
General Bezikas, yes.
Dave Walker, yes.
Mary Jane Churchman, yes.
Thank you.
Carol Hofstas, yes.
Thank you for putting the dates in.
And Don
I
Hayes.
appreciate it. Down the bottom.
Okay, yeah, and what I thought I would do is add to that
Okay.
and create a table list of who's coming in.
Okay.
And if in advance we have we have questions for them, we can get them to them in advance so they can be
Okay.
prepared in the meeting.
So will we have their budgets first?
We'll have their budgets first. Yeah.
Oh, this-
Okay. No agenda, see where it is on the agenda. Okay, no, sorry, it's kind of, and, sorry, I'm gonna share and put it up just to, have. So what I was starting to do, I had started to see some of the information coming through. This is not the official spreadsheet maintained by the town administrator. This is my notes that I had prepared. If I get the page down and get down to the my understanding is that there's going to be three additional ARPA requests, for equipment and other items that are gonna be added on Thursday.
Equipment,
What?
The copiers is on here, so. they're
copier,
looking- Yeah, they're looking at replacing and updating the two copiers, the main copiers that we
okay,
use. as
two,
printers.
okay.
So just to be clear and on the same page,
Mhm.
is this what's up there?
No,
No?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay, so with the 87,000,
it's not on there,
the
Mary Jane.
80s, is that the
Thursday.
ARPA
Yeah,
funding?
that's Thursdays.
yeah.
That.
Oh,
that
what's
would be
that?
Thursdays. I didn't receive a copy from anybody, I was just putting it together. based-
That's for Thursday.
Oh,
So-
oh.
Yeah, so the ARPA pieces, we don't have finalized because the Board of Selectmen have not voted on the changes or anything, but again, what is trying to be done is adding three. They were gonna check with the company that, manages the ARPA, get them, because these ARPA numbers are assigned by them and managed by them. And so you can't just add something to the list without having it verified.
And who's that third party outsourced?
I think it was GSS or
Is
something.
is that a state regulated or state approved?
It's a
Aud-
state approved company
auditor.
yeah. And again, in a lot of cases, ARPA is, federal, so it's kind of like, so they also report back into the federal funds part of it too, to make sure that we're in compliance with everything. So those, they're adding three, and I didn't get a title for the third. The ARPA 27 was gonna be for trying to cover the deficit that.
So trying to cover the deficit that we made in the ARPA funds?
No, the deficit is in the operating budget for the town.
Oh, so it was a deficit.
Okay, the deficit we have is not ARPA funds. We're looking to use ARPA funds to cover the deficit in the
Are
budget.
we allowed to do that?
The company will
Let us know.
let us know.
Okay.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chair, I'd like to be recognized if possible.
Okay, question?
My question is, now that you mentioned the $87,000 deficit, I guess that would be in the tax levy for 2025, is that how you say it? I'm not sure.
Right, so that we put together the spreadsheet for the year, and it happened to be, it was the modified one that came up at the special town meeting on August 20th. They put together the numbers, and when they put together the numbers, everything worked out with the transfers and things that were approved. However, what happened was there was a cell in the spreadsheet that was not accounted properly in a subtotal area, and so $131,000 was missed in the transfer as being required money.
Is that including the $87,000 in there?
It's part of it. So yes, so that's what it comes down to. If it was 131,000 for the TCAM paid access transfer.
Because I was concerned about the 87,000 because I had heard someone attended the Board of Selectmen meeting and I heard that number.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, I mean, it sounds like I'm wrong, that it was not known where the $87,000
It was not known at that time.
at that time.
We have since
Narrowed it down.
narrowed it down, and if we want to jump to that, I can.
I'm sorry.
No, that it's part of the ARPA, and we're going to cover it. But I
And it's on
want,
everybody's minds.
Yeah.
it's on everybody's mind.
Yeah. Like the bullet.
And so I'm bringing up this is the master spreadsheet. It may not be the most recent and updated because I know there's values in here that are not.
Did you send this to us in an email?
No, this
Oh.
was uncovered very late. It's kind of like, I found out about 5 o'clock last night.
Yeah, I have a question about finding out about this deficit in December, mid-December.
Yeah.
How did that actually happen, do you
Okay.
think?
So it was discovered because they were putting together the numbers for the state and the DOR so that we could get our budget certified. And so
Oh,
when they were doing the numbers for the state, we were coming up $87,000 short of a balanced budget. If we don't billed at $87,000, we can't set the tax rate. If we don't set the tax rate, we can't send tax bills in January to be paid in February. If we don't get the bills out, we're not gonna have money in the treasury to pay bills for
I
everything.
understand that.
So it's kind of like, so this one's kind of critical, but that's, the timing wise is DOR in the November timeframe certifying the FY '25 budget, and that's when the deficit was uncovered. And so they backtracked into finding out where the problem was.
So I remember distinctly two Board of Selectmen meetings that I attended because of the position I was in.
Mhm.
And the ARPA discussion wouldn't take place, they kept not discussing it. So now it's coming up?
Well, it's coming up, but it's not ARPA funds. It's not the ARPA, we're using ARPA funds to bail us out on this.
Do they know
Shortage.
what the 87,000 was
Oh,
for?
the 87,000.
Okay, it's 87,000 is the deficit. It
Right.
is caused by a line that is 131,000.
In the
Or
ARPA or in the regular?
Okay, so.
Budget.
In the
regular budget.
So they want to use
Oh,
ARPA
the-
funds,
Okay.
The
they want to
deficit
use,
is not operating, the deficit is the regular operating
and they want to
budget.
use ARPA funds to cover the deficit.
And they're not quite sure if that's
If they
allowed.
can,
They-
do that.
Right, they're looking at it, on the salaries lines, and balancing it that way. So I've got the screen up now, and if I'm looking at it, I'm gonna highlight the line, the ATM Article 10 TCAM payment. This is the, so that's highlighting the line of 130,140. When I click on the subtotal, the total appropriations to be raised, when I highlight this line, the cells come in and it highlights the total operating budget, the annual town meeting articles, and the special town meeting votes. It's missing that 130,000 line. We have to add that F9 into this to come up with the total that was due.
So
We have to add, we just add it or do we have it?
We-
31,
right,
right? We
so-
still hold the 130.
Yeah, so the 130,000 to TCAM transfer is required, is part of the PEG access money. And so, but it was missed in the formula on that subtotal. And so so when we say 87,000 in the number, that's the number, because when you take out the rest of the money that's in the general fund, that would be $43,000 was on the positive. And that's what we thought we balanced at, but taking 130 out leaves you with your 87,000 out of balance.
So is this a numbers mistake or is this real money?
This is a formula mistake. So yes, it's a real money mistake that we did not address in the August 20 town meeting because we thought the numbers in this spreadsheet were correct. Yeah.
So how do, I'm just trying to learn.
We're all,
Because I thought it was
Right.
an FY '24 mistake, so it's
No,
an
it's-
FY
it's
'25.
an FY '25
mistake,
mistake.
okay.
We in FY '25 right now.
We are.
Yeah,
So what happens if it's determined that we cannot use these
26
ARPA?
comes up.
Then we gotta find money somewhere else.
Yeah, it's kind of like we are,
So we'll have to cut 87,000 from someplace else, from other places, most likely.
we would have to, yeah, that would have to be, the case.
Does this include the bag sale?
Different subject, but it's different but the same. It's kind of like, so if I scroll down to the bottom where we start talking about the revenues we're getting, they have in here somewhere.
Or the
The
total revenue?
the local receipts estimated for trash.
What was
So
the,
line 31, they estimated in $550,000.
and they've received how much?
I think the state was going to allow about 325 or 275.
So we overestimated.
So we overestimated what the revenue was
Well,
gonna be.
well.
That doesn't surprise me.
Wow.
Right, so that maybe a
Sorry.
January, a January, yeah.
So is the 130,000 in that 550?
No,
Okay.
the 130,000 is straight. It was
Just plain error.
it was an error in the formula in the cell, that it was omitted from the total due,
So when you
for the
say,
year.
So we have the $550,000 deficit and now plus an $87,000 deficit.
It's about 225, because if the state's allowing 325 of the 550, that.
What does that mean?
yeah,
So, I mean,
So,
if,
so they looked at the receipts that we have transferred in from Waste Zero to this point in time.
okay,
And they estimate for the full year that we would likely get 325,000
for a full year.
for a full year, for the 9 months.
based
For
on,
the
based
9
on
months.
what's there already.
Based on what's there already, they estimated out the rest of the rest of the 6 months in this.
Do you think it'd be
fiscal year.
wise to err on the side of caution and drop that down a little bit to maybe 275?
It could be, yes, and that's the discussion right now, is they're looking to determine what
Because,
that number is gonna be,
because
especially with.
a lot of people bought hoarded bags at the beginning, so
Right.
I'm assuming that as time goes on, your revenue is not
Gonna
gonna
go
be
down.
quite,
It's
it's
not
gonna
gonna-
go
Well,
down.
you
Yeah,
said
right.
everybody
It's-
bought it at once.
It's not gonna stay the
Right,
same.
it's,
Yeah.
it spiked in September because we all had to have them for the first of October when it went live. So there was a spike in the
So that's a
beginning.
false,
And
that's a
now-
false rate.
It's a false read, but you can average it out.
Mm,
It-
You
it's kinda like-
can,
Yeah.
you could use it to average it across.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's what I,
What-
if I was doing it, it's kind of like, but I haven't seen the
What,
numbers.
have you seen the actual numbers of how much
I-
we've sold in bags?
I have not seen the actual numbers.
Oh.
It's kind of like, so we're asking for that and trying to.
So
Okay.
We'll get that
Who
one.
has that?
Board of Health, right?
Katie or somebody else?
Katie would probably provide it to.
Provided for us?
The Board of Health Department,
Yeah,
Yeah,
so do they have to give us their budget?
they have, yeah, they will, yeah, Board of Health has. to
And
give
that'll
us
be in
their
their budget, right?
I don't know, would it be in there? I don't know.
We have to see, right now, the money's going into the general fund and it's being paid, the trash contract is being paid from the general fund at this point. So it's not going into a Board of Health account, it's not going into the Board of Health revolving account at this point. Before October, the revenues for Waste Zero, because it was all overflow bags, was going into the revolving account.
Oh, because it was overflow
Full
bags,
bags.
not a requirement by the
Yeah,
municipality.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
that was a shift in
Yeah,
the way
sure, sure.
Okay.
of operation.
So are we to be concerned with ARPA right now?
No, that's at this point, it's having being pursued by, Board of Selectmen.
In conjunction with the Department of Revenue and the GSS people?
It's kind of like all of those and the town administrator. So they're putting together Thursday morning at 11 o'clock is going to be the meeting to go over all of the.
So as residents, can we rest a little bit assured that we have some oversight over the Board of Selectmen? Or what's, not the present, but what the prior ones have stated?
It's, all of, as far as the opera funds, it's kind of like, so the opera funds are definitely all managed, that all the policies are written, and the Board of Selectmen have the 3 policies around.
But they have to be adhered to.
They have to be adhered to, and that was, apparent on the December 3rd Selectmen meeting. It was brought up because they were discussing the moving of the money, and the, Veronica had brought up that the policies, because she was, the lead chair at the time, that they were written, so she knew, she's
Oh, I see,
intimately
yeah. So there's
familiar with the policy and wanted to make sure that they were adhered to in regarding any changes
Got it.
and shifting of any money.
So the 87,000 that we're have to take.
Yeah.
Could have been used towards roads.
Roads?
Mhm.
How about roads? How about the trash
Roads
truck?
would be nice, yeah.
Roads would be nice.
Yeah.
I'd like some stripes along
The
our
white stripes.
white
Yeah.
stripes
Road
along
road
13.
safety, road
Well,
safety,
yeah.
safe streets.
Well, there is one that was on the opera funds, which was, doing South Harbor Road, I believe.
That was for 25.
That was,
It's confusing as to what year we're in.
Well,
yeah,
and
yeah.
now
I
it's
know.
confusing about this ARPA funds versus
Mm-hmm.
taking the ARPA funds to balance the budget that was,
Right.
that's kind of scary to me.
We have to be very concerned with it going forward, because
I would say so. very
and
concerned.
we were, so one of the requirements we put in, was the seeing the multi-years, following the budget process and procedure that is defined.
And when you say that, Don, are you talking about the fact that there is a procedure in place and that the finance committee is very much a part of that procedure?
We're going to make sure that, it's followed. It's kind of like this year. We've been trying and asking, but the last 4 years have always been year-to-year budgets, try to get through the budget, get something balanced for the year and move forward.
That's so reactive.
It is, it's kind of like, and that's why, the policy that was put together is to come up with a 5-year plan. 5-year is aspirational as far as I'm concerned, because, I mean, any of us could put together something
Mhm.
and it can break if you have a major
Right,
break
but you build some kind of a safety
build-
net into that.
into the 5 years. So you can't know exactly what may break down or need repairs
Correct,
in those 5 years, but you can build a budget.
sure.
Um,
And right,
As you said, and especially with opera funds being used to fund our operating budget, we have to make sure that we're not gonna get hit.
but they're going
in the future.
away in
But,
two thousand twenty-six, right?
December 26th, they have to all be used, which is half of FY 27. So we have to, that's why now is
Won't
the
be
right
long
time.
left anyway.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
It won't be long left.
I have
no.
a question, because you mentioned the bags.
Mhm.
I had a whisper, this just kind of get my brain to thinking here. I had a whisper about perhaps that we might be eventually responsible for our own trash, other than having Shaw's. I don't know if I'm jumping ahead of something you were
No,
there.
we weren't really necessarily gonna talk about it because we only have a contract for this year.
Okay,
We don't know where it stands. I am not part of the finance committee isn't part of the contracts. I don't know what it would take to break it and get out, but I think at this point, our best bet would be, to see what a FY 26, the contract that we're working with Shaw's was put together because we did not let the selectmen sign a 5-year contract with Shaw's for trash. So,
You're allowed to say it's 3 years.
so is it, it's
Right.
not outside the realm of possibility?
Isn't that the
that each
state
individual
law
would be
or
responsible
rule,
for all?
state law rule is
it
that
is,
could only do
I
a
would say
three-year
it's very
contract.
possible. I mean, other than that,
Yes.
in order to cover about $1 million
I don't know
for
why
trash.
that's,
Oh,
I don't know
in the
why
budget,
that's.
You're probably talking an override
That's a
to
state.
2.5.
I know,
don't
it's
that
a
anybody
state
would
rule,
go for
but
that.
Because I know.
I would have done a
someone-
5-year
I don't know,
contract.
correct me if I'm wrong, someone
Yes.
said that Ashby
I would have, yeah,
residents do their own, there's no town
Mhm,
up there.
right, yeah,
So the town, I mean, the town would be saving a lot of money, but by the same, it's kind of a.
Right, and that's.
but would
the
my tax rate go down?
Right.
No.
No.
Right.
No.
The
Yeah.
tax rate,
Yeah.
yeah,
So-
the tax rate is where it is right now, based on the revenues that are expected from the sale of the trash bags. If that revenue goes away, now the where we are with taxes won't cover that.
So what
that
are you saying, that the $900,000 Shaw contract would no longer be on the plate, and we as individual residents would be paying our own tax? But we wouldn't get the money, we wouldn't get a rebate.
Absolutely
There'd be
not.
no rebate.
Absolutely
No,
not.
no.
So would be responsible
But
for
we
all
would-
personal dumpsters or something.
Right.
Yeah, trash,
Or
you know,
trash collection.
whatever.
This is really
are-
Board of Health.
Yeah,
stuff.
there
Yeah.
are, it's really the Board of
Board of
Health, we can go down
Health,
and get their meeting and ask them.
Well, I mean, I was just.
I'm
Actually,
joking.
they're down
No, no,
there,
no.
they're meeting
It's
right
been-
now.
Yeah.
That's okay, I'm
Yeah.
too lazy to
No,
watch.
it's
But
kind of
John,
like,
if that did happen, just say the
Yeah.
scenario that she brought out, and
Mhm.
the $800,000 no longer goes to Shaw's, it goes back into our
Yeah.
operating.
So we did,
Well, it's eliminated from the operating budget. And so that's a lot, that's an $800,000 line that you don't have to
You don't have to fund.
fund.
You don't have to.
So
Right,
it would
it-
just relieve a little
and
bit of
again-
pressure. It doesn't necessarily
But
solve
eight
anything.
hundred
Right,
thousand
it-
wouldn't, oh, because the 800,000 wouldn't be added, I see,
Right.
okay.
So it's
No,
not,
no.
it would not be part of the.
Well,
It would,
Yeah,
it would
would
relieve,
be.
it would relieve some of the budget pressure, but it, but it,
Eight hundred
depending on,
thousand
right.
more,
You're gonna have a lot of
$800,000.
yeah, but depending on,
Well,
on what else needs to go up, it wouldn't necessarily solve it.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
when we read into all the different pieces of it, Board of Health has to work with Shaw's now and come up with a multi-year contract presented to us as part of the budget, and then we look,
but they should have
Over to-
let the Board of Health do it.
right. So
The
the,
selectmen did it instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go, I mean,
I think I don't know.
we
the
should each be in
logistics
our
of-
own lane here.
Right, it's kind of like, but the August 20th was the key in that we knew we didn't have enough money to fund everything in the budget. Then the schools' budgets got passed by the other two towns, so there was an extra 100,000 that was put.
I think if they had presented that correctly, though, we would have been all right.
I think so, and that's the piece, it's kind of like, and that's why my thought is providing a multi-year plan of, these are the numbers, this is where we are. If it did require an override, that there's a complete story that the townspeople would see.
Would say-
It's
would
kind of
be
like,
told.
it's not this year to
Transparency.
year,
Yeah,
Well, transparency might work,
right,
yeah.
it's gonna, so. that's-
so
it- and again-
we also, can we learn from our mistakes? I mean, so that next year, or whatever
I think-
year we're in,
Mhm.
FY.
Right, yeah, we're planning for FY 26, so in the FY 26 budget, that we try to have a contract. And again, part of where we were and what was the timing. The budget for Shaw's was, or the contract for Shaw's was, I think we had a March special town meeting where the contract, the 5-year contract proposals from Shaw's was voted down. Well,
Well-
March is past.
Except, I just wanna,
Yeah.
if the state only allows us a 3-year contract, then
Well, yeah,
So
what's wrong,
why-
who did that?
why do we even bother with the trying to put through a
5-year
5-year
project.
contract
But-
when we
but-
can't
Million
do
idea.
it?
But
is that?
it's 3 years is the standard, but if you have a motion and a special article that says 5 years, and you allow, and the townspeople allow the selectmen to sign a 5-year contract, you can sign a longer contract.
Really?
Did that happen?
No, it was voted down.
No,
Was it presented?
It was.
No, it wasn't presented well.
No, it
That's
wasn't.
correct.
There were two.
None of it was presented
There were
well.
2 articles
None of it was.
presented.
None of
know,
it was
nothing
presented
was-
well.
Yeah.
I think
so
this is a real
visiting-
issue for the
yeah.
town residents, because they really don't know what's going on, because no one ever talks about it.
right.
I mean, rumor, Facebook, blah, 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 but I mean, the
Right.
real hard facts are not disclosed to the
right, well,
residents.
that's why
Right, or-
transparency, as you said right along, is the important.
Right.
That's why I sent a
Well,
little brochure to Dawn.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
so
it's-
if we can do a 5-year contract by town vote,
Right.
we might be better off with a 5-year contract.
Well,
I
let's
mean,
see what,
I
let's see
like-
what the Board of Health.
Yeah.
I-
comes
I
up
like-
with.
we have to
Let's
see
let
what
them
Board
do
of
their
Health-
work.
I did look at his 5-year contract.
Mm.
I know he doesn't know the tipping fees, but
Right.
whatever the
Yeah.
Board of Health does a pretty good job, it seems. to
Yeah, let's let
negotiate
them
the
do their
contract.
job,
Yeah.
get back
Yeah.
to us, and then we'll,
Right.
We just
Yeah.
know the number's not going down.
Oh,
No,
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 Yeah,
no,
the number
The
never
number,
goes down.
yeah,
No.
the number went up year to year. This year I thought was a really good rate. Now, the other part of it that we have to consider is, I don't know if we're responsible for picking up recyclables, so that's always gonna be there. I don't know. Another part of the contract is all of the dumpsters that are around at all the other town facilities that they pick up. So there's still gonna be a piece of trash pickup. It may not be in the Board of Health line. It might end up moving around to everybody's individual budget, or Board of Health pays it and gets transfers from
The
Yeah,
other
or-
thing
or
is, what
send out-
about
Send out
choices?
bills for the other.
If we decide to go pay your own way, or
Mhm.
pay as you
There's
please.
only
Yeah.
certain companies that come out.
How do we get, I called like 5 different places, they say they don't pick up in Townsend.
Right.
I mean, why, are we taboo? Are we like
No,
end of the world?
I don't think so. Some of it's capacity. I think if the town were to go and you might find more vendors willing to come out.
Oh, I
other-
see,
other than
okay,
show.
okay.
It's kind of like, it's not the whole town is not in play at this point because we still have the curbside pickup. So we are kind of remote. It's kind of, and
Well,
we have.
Ashby's remote.
Ashby is remote, but some of we have a large area that they would have to cover, that they have to pick up, going from the New Hampshire border all the way to Bloomberg. There's miles and miles of road, so it's kind of like, right. So,
Sorry.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like the
I
buses.
mean,
Yeah.
Bus, oh, the
Yeah.
bus.
Buses.
Don't get me started.
so it's kind of, so trash is there, it's gonna be on our FY 26 radar, and we're gonna have to watch it.
Okay,
And we're gonna have to, and I'm gonna flip back to that other
Okay.
spreadsheet.
Okay.
And
All right,
we're definitely gonna need to be continuing to watch, what the number is for, revenue. Kind of like, I know,
you mean the revenue coming in
the
generally,
revenue
all
coming in
of
for
it?
the bags.
Oh, you're talking about this bag?
Yeah, this kind of, and we do need to, continue to watch the other revenue. If people go out and buy new cars, the excise tax revenues are gonna be higher
so
than anticipated, but, yeah,
Oh, is
that
that for sure?
$50,000,
Oh, yeah.
that's estimated receipts.
Yep.
Current year deficit, is that what it is?
What is, and then it says, what is it, 825 trash contract,
yeah,
rule fee. So,
okay, so yes, it's kind of, so.
so is that estimated 50,000 from September to now? Is that what that is? For the receipts?
No, that was for the 9 months when we started on October 1st.
Oh,
Okay, so you're right, okay.
So there's only
I
two places
should
selling them,
build it
right?
out and look at it.
McNabb's
The
and
total
Hannah's.
bill for the trash is 825,000.
Right,
We were anticipating 550 of that to come from the revenues for the bags. We transferred an extra $100,000 from ambulance fund into the general fund.
for the trash?
No, you can't do that. You can't do that. It has to be for fire EMS services.
Oh,
So they
okay.
transferred we started with 700 in May, and they upped it an extra 100,000 at the August. And so that 100,000 went in to cover fire EMS salaries and expenses, which freed up 100,000 of general fund that we could use for trash. So now at 550, now you're up to 650. Then there were some small lines where the new administrative salary was $10,000 less, and car allowance was a little less, and there were a couple of other lines, and there was 47.5 for the police to push out the start of their lease to December instead of July.
Your Carly's?
Their car leases, yeah. So there was that little bit of money. And
But we
and
still
the
have-
last, the
We
last,
still have money.
but we
right?
still have the money,
well,
the 47,000.
47.
right, but
No,
so it was 95,000.
90,
They had
yeah.
95,000,
Right,
and we reduced it to
We-
47.5.
well, we split it,
Right. Which is,
47
Oh,
and
we didn't pay it?
47.
Well,
we paid half.
no.
no,
It's-
they delayed getting the
Paid.
cars, so they didn't owe the money over those
Oh,
6
oh,
months they didn't have the
okay.
cars.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all
So
right,
now, and it was an incorrect assumption because they're getting him in December, which is 50, it's 7 months, not 6 months. So it should have been about 53,000 that we left in there, but we didn't.
okay.
But so
we
there
say
was,
we, it's not us.
no, we.
Yeah, no, I know
The finance committee recommended that we leave money in the budget for those cars because we have seen how hard it is to get a quorum in fall and winter special
Oh,
town
in
meetings.
terms of residents.
Right,
That might
so-
be different this year.
So if we took, it could be,
Yeah,
but if
I'm
we,
thinking it's gonna be.
if we took all of their money out, they wouldn't be able to
Mhm.
get the lease and get them in the second half if we didn't have that special town meeting. So that was the recommendation from finance committee, was leave half of the money in there so that we weren't counting on a special town meeting.
So how long does it take to play catch up on this, so we're not like reacting and making bad decisions? Is there a timeline on that? Or-
Well, the timeline's gonna have to be our start of the FY 26 budget. It's kind of like, we have to see there and moving forward.
Okay.
And the impacts of, other things that have happened in town, potentially. Kind of like, so, and again, this is something I will add into, some of our budget questions for some of the departments.
Oh, okay.
Well, when we talk, it's kind of like, so, but those are the things, and those are the questions, that
We're ready.
they're starting. It's kind of like, so we'll hit that maybe later on when we start talking more on this, but I thought it was important that everybody really get the grasp on.
What's the total other amounts to be raised?
Okay, hang on. Okay, so let's scroll and see the whole,
455,
Let me-
oh, 495.
hang on, let me
Where are you?
I'm
get,
on line 23.
yeah, hang on, let me get it displayed and get the whole thing on.
Oh, you don't have it?
Um,
I thought this was you.
this is me, so I didn't have my mouse turned on, so I couldn't.
Line 23, total other amounts to be raised.
Yeah, okay, so when we look at this, from line 13
Yeah,
to line 23 is the lines we're talking about. So, we were trying, so going into the FY 25 year budget, we had a couple of bills left over from 2024. Originally, they had estimated 10,000 and it was reduced to the 656.11 when we were there. So like the current year overlay, there were no current year deficits or overlay deficit. The snow and ice deficit, we did vote and we transferred the 181,000. Because that's your only budget that you can really deficit spend in.
the snow and ice. That
And
makes
then
sense.
we found that the highway cat loader had an extra, or had a lease payment that needed to be in. It was not in, the capital plan for that year.
$13,000.
Yep, 13,002 for that lease payment.
Hmm.
And then the cherry sheets from the state assessments. And then the total other amounts to be raised is just 424, and you can see the full block is filled in. And all of these, this is the total.
So the 120, 656, the 181, 13,
Yeah.
27, 82,
Yeah.
total the 424, 53.
Yep. 424, 531, and the formula works, and because when I highlight them all down in the,
Okay,
switch to see the screen up there. Down here, you can see the sum total matches the cell.
Oh,
Okay.
I get it. Okay.
So it's just the way, when you highlight cells, it starts counting and adding them up. And so you can validate your formulas by highlighting the same things that you think are in.
Now, are the
the
formulas
formula.
set by the state, or is that something Townsend sets?
Which formula?
Yeah, which,
That you're coming up with all these.
okay,
formulas.
these are all town, these are the people that create the Excel spreadsheets. These are not standard forms that you fill in. It's kind of like, so that's,
who creates them?
creates
so
them?
I'd say that town administrator. And in this case, it was the interim town administrator that was active.
Oh, got it. Hmm.
So that's why we have found and questioned numbers in the cells and
And we're gonna do that, right? We're gonna question them, and we're
Yeah,
gonna make sure
we're
that
gonna
they're
do the whole
correct.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, good,
Kinda
good, good,
that's
good.
up to us and we do double check now. It's kind of like, but that one was missed in August. It was again, that day we didn't know we were gonna have to pay the school until 15 minutes before we hit it in the middle of the town meeting, because Ashby had a special town meeting to vote, and they approved the budget. They started it.
I don't think we should allow that kind of stuff. I
Well,
think,
you
know-
you have to. It's kind of like,
Why?
it's the school, it's how the schools operate.
15 minutes before?
Well, we didn't know, they were having a special town meeting to either override or vote down.
Right.
They voted to accept the school budget. At that point, that is the trigger that Townsend had to pay the schools the assessed values.
Yeah.
So that's why it's
Because
15
two
minutes.
others-
So they didn't like plan for that in
No.
advance. They just like went with
Well,
what they,
it's all a matter of the towns. I mean, sometimes Pepperell and Townsend and Ashby might schedule a couple of days in advance, but this was compressed. We were in August, we were 6 weeks into,
but wouldn't you think they would have like plan B in case Ashby did vote it? Or, I mean,
they would have to, yeah. Yeah, the school would have had
we
to.
should have plan B.
No, the town should have had a
The
plan B.
town should have plan
Could
B in
be.
case Ashby didn't go the way they want him to go.
Yeah.
Ooh,
And I
I'm
think
getting really
going forward, you're gonna
edgy.
have to have plan Bs for things like that.
Right.
But I'm
yeah.
not surprised that Pepperell and Ashby voted that way. It didn't surprise me one single bit.
I thought Ashby usually voted that down.
Yeah.
No.
I thought they might. It's kind of like, because
Just
But the point is, we
it was-
don't know,
You don't
and so how can we base what we're doing on something that we really don't know? That's
Well-
crazy. to
Well,
me.
then that's when you have plan B.
B,
So,
yeah.
so if
Right.
you do your
Yeah.
whole thing and if,
And then the schools want 11%.
then you say, if we have to,
Right.
you could have a budget that says,
Yeah.
okay, worst case is this,
Scenario,
and
yeah.
best case is
So
this.
Yep, so those, we have
And
started to have
then-
those
then we
discussions.
won't
I know
be-
Dave's brought it up, what, you know. how do you-
Yeah,
how do you-
robbing
how do you
Peter
come
to
up
pay
with that?
Paul and
Yeah.
not finding and not having a Peter.
Peter,
Yeah,
well, Peter.
Well, when we went to the school meeting, we found out who was robbing us, and it's the state.
well, no,
Well,
see,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
you know, that's another thing, why aren't the residents rallying and being proactive about that? If the governor is holding back money from 121
There was a
communities.
writing campaign to the governor.
Well, that's not
It
gonna
never
work.
did.
You
It
gotta
never-
get on
I
the
know.
bus and go to Boston. You gotta clog the streets, call the police, call the TV people,
Yeah.
and do it up. Because,
And,
wow,
and get all the town, all the
you
schools.
gotta get
that
those
are- all the
121
schools.
people on the bus. We'll work on that, Jerry.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Are we still on?
So where are we?
I know.
Yeah, it's kind of like we sort of did jump around.
Jump around a little bit, yeah.
Um,
So,
so-
name and address. Could you just leave your
Dawn, I have
name
a
and
question.
contact information?
I was looking at the calendar and, on here we've got January 23rd,
Yeah.
which is a Thursday. And
Yes,
then,
we were
and then on the
all,
25th, is that the workshop with we also had down the 25th twice.
okay. We were alternating Tuesdays and Thursdays
Yeah, but
on
The
the,
25th is a Saturday.
I
Are you
don't,
sure?
Oh, yeah, I got it right in front of me.
What month? January?
So I've got August, we've got January 14th, August, not
Okay.
January 14th, and then January 25th. Okay, so.
No,
and
it's
then
23rd.
23rd.
23 January.
Yeah.
23,
Mine said the 25th.
23 January,
Oh.
25?
That's the date. This is the year.
Oh, for God's sake. I said, why am I meeting on a Saturday?
Yeah, no,
Okay, I got it.
Well, we
And-
could meet on this Saturday if you want.
I'm
We-
I'm
we-
okay with
The,
Saturday,
right now, the
early
budget,
though,
summit
not
is-
late.
the budget summit is scheduled for Saturday, March 1st.
What's a budget summit? Is that,
Budget summit.
It's the final time, and we line up all the departments that we maybe had questions with or pieces. If there's any stragglers that we haven't gotten to, that's our opportunity to get,
okay, so when is it, the budget summit?
just attending a meeting.
Budget summit, March 1st.
Kinda,
Sounds like an all-day event, isn't it?
it has been, they try to do 4 hours, but generally they go to 6 or more.
Mary Jane, on that piece of paper that you're writing down, could you take would you mind if we took a piece of paper out of that?
Oh.
Because we need to have you sign in that you're.
Oh, no, I already did.
They did?
Yeah, right here,
Okay.
Sandra and Cindy. It's
Okay.
another Cindy King. Now we have two
Two
Cindy
Cindy
Kings.
Kings?
Oh, boy. Okay.
Interesting fact, they live on the same street.
You're kidding.
Oh, goodness.
That's hilarious.
It's true,
Yeah, funny.
except for mail and everything.
Oh, I bet.
Unbelievable. Okay. Budget summary, all right, well, that's in March, that's next year.
That's my,
Yeah,
March
let's
first.
not worry about
Okay.
that. Holy moly. We have to go through all those budget meetings with all the department heads.
And
Do we
then,
have a checklist?
not yet.
Oh,
It's kinda like-
oh,
I'm to ask questions of
Yeah.
them and say,
yeah.
what did you do last year with the money? How did you spend it? Do you have any left over?
Well, they'll come in and present their budget.
Right.
Then we can ask questions
And
from
this-
there, you'll
yeah.
have questions from there.
But, should we have like a checklist? so
Yeah,
we
like
don't
Good,
forget?
yeah,
Well,
standard thing. to
yeah,
do.
standard
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
We-
Is there something the state puts out that we can? cheat on?
Was there something, wait a minute, maybe there's a cheat sheet
It
here.
has
Oh,
a cheat
from-
sheet, all right.
Um, One of those columns, maybe.
So organized, Karen. Gee,
Yeah.
so
She's,
jealous.
yeah, she's
I
printed
wanna
everything.
be you. How do you?
It's gonna-
Mark's gonna be a busy
Maybe,
month for
maybe
us.
because of all my years working for the federal government, paper is my friend. Somewhere in here there is something, there is some kind of a,
What is that actually? Is this something you made up?
yeah, because,
It's-
say, I
it's-
printed, I went on the state website and printed all this crap up. Stuff out, and,
Information.
information out, but you know what, I'll look through it.
I took the little classes, but I didn't, I love the classes.
Well, I just wanted to read up, so
Yeah.
I'll look through here, and I know there's like a little
Checklist.
list, and I'll type it up and stick it in the
Okay.
minutes or something.
Okay,
I'll do that, I think.
an action item out of this.
Well, that'll help us move things along,
Right,
because,
yeah,
you know, we
it's
can't
gonna-
just like.
So where
waste
are
their
we?
time.
Where are we
Okay,
on
We're
this?
still on
list?
ARPA.
We had,
Do we move off?
yeah, so it's kind of like, I hadn't been, so we reviewed the minutes, we looked at Opera for a couple of minutes. And then we,
We took questions from the floor, that's a big deal.
right, and we don't have,
Get the budget schedule.
right, we have the budget schedule, the warrant articles for a special town meeting. I wanted to make sure that we put two items on there, so I'll get them in writing and send them to,
Us personally?
yes, us personally, because we wanna see, I think us personally, we wanna see, once we have free cash certification,
Mhm.
I think we wanna see, one, to repay the stabilization that we transferred in August, and then also put money into capital stabilization, so there's money for the capital stabilization. It's kind of like,
So you're assuming we're gonna have money left over that we could do with this?
and again, I have that,
Good,
and
I like
the reason why we think this, we sold 3 properties last November, so.
Oh,
when
and
I
we're
say
doing
last
we're doing
November,
an
I mean
auction.
2023.
Yeah, so we're
Yes.
doing an auction this year too, right?
Um,
Cause the board of
This-
selectmen had like 5 or 6 properties or more.
Don't you think, I was
Okay.
confused about that, John, were
Okay,
they
so-
talking about your the properties that we've
the
already?
properties committee.
Yeah, that's already,
Okay, so that,
in the
there's,
works.
there's,
it's not 5 new ones.
there's a recommendation from the properties committee, from the October meeting, presented to the board of selectmen, and again, they couldn't act on it until there was a full operating
So
board.
it's 5 more properties?
At least 5 more.
Oh,
It's kind of
wow.
like.
Yeah.
So we had gone through the list of all the properties that the town owns and recommended. So in addition to that, there's still 182 Warren Road, and there's the, once the water department moves out of, the Main Street location, that has already been approved to go to auction.
The water department, a
The
little
water
cute
department.
little brick building?
No, that stays as part of, that's the pumping house. Beyond there, the brown building that they're in, that they operate out of today,
Oh,
but actually they don't operate out of. They
right.
As a-
It's a
as a
brown building,
percentage.
it's further up
just a little
Main
further up.
Street on West
Right.
Town. Okay.
Yeah, just by the,
Oh,
that used,
that's,
so that building is being, I won't say abandoned, but it's being.
up for
left.
sale.
It-
It'll be
it's
up for
gonna-
sale.
It will be up for sale because, they're moving into the new Harbor Trace facility. And they should have completed that, I believe it was December 2nd.
I think they're having some kind of opening soon, aren't they?
Right, so,
Yeah,
so
it's quite a facility out there. I don't know why they
yeah,
put it
so
in
we-
residential area,
that wasn't necessarily on the agenda, but it's budget.
It's good to know. Thank you, Jerry, for bringing it up.
Yeah, so, yeah, the properties committee went through every property. There were a lot that were just reassigned very small pieces, 1,000 square feet and things that were assigned to Conservation Commission.
Right, and they said neighborhood's fine. And no, I thought the program was pretty good.
Hmm.
The only thing about the properties is once they're gone, they're gone. So we're gonna have to,
But we're hoping that they come back onto the
Tax roll.
tax rolls. It's kind of like that.
Is it-
We're hoping, the small ones that you can't sell.
okay, see, I just clearly don't understand why they've been sitting there for 500 years not earning tax dollars, but that's okay. I just don't get it. I mean,
Yeah, the
You know what?
properties committee, didn't necessarily have review them, so it's kind of like we've been,
But John,
pushing,
I mean,
pushing to do things.
but
you know.
yeah, and I think that's a very important thing, and I don't know if it's in our lane to do that, but if the properties are not on the rolls earning,
Mhm.
and they're just sitting there, owned by the town.
Right.
Because I get the delinquent, the way they run it here, why aren't they doing these sales on a yearly basis until they clean it out and put them back on, instead of waiting
It's-
10, 15,
They
20?
are all cleared out. This,
Oh, this is it?
the October meeting was every property that the town owned.
So now there'll be no more property for sale.
Well,
That the town owns today.
That the town owns today, okay.
Okay. There are several properties in land court that the town will take in the future. So there are other properties in the tax taking process that are ongoing, but we can't do anything with them until such time that we get the deed is transferred to the town of Townsend. At that point, they can be listed for auction again. Those will be recommended. And again, it's whether, if it's a value to the town, it might be transferred to a town department. If it's in an aquifer and you don't want building on it, you're gonna transfer it you're likely transfer it to the water department.
So it's not
So,
necessarily
yeah.
revenue.
It's not necessarily revenue, but there are properties, yes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for
Yeah.
recognizing me. I have a question now, these properties you're speaking of, is that
Mhm.
like the Wallace Hill, Haynes Road, so that's one?
Yeah.
That was all done years ago, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a question about that, because by the same token, we're talking about in this town about keeping open spaces and
Mhm.
preserving
Yeah.
things, okay. I
Yeah,
should put like
yeah,
that.
it is, yeah.
Because it's beautiful out there, where, I don't know the land in the butts, but
Mhm.
again, and it's beautiful out there, there's wetlands, and we're kind of drought,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of like nature there that I would hate to see destroyed. Right now, everything was dry this year, so
Mhm.
some stuff, vernal pools that might be there normally
Mhm.
would not be there. My concern is that you go ahead and sell it and develop it, all that natural habitat, you're gonna get,
Does that fall
it's
under
gonna
land
be
use?
destroyed.
That, some of that will fall under
Definitely.
land use and open
Yeah.
Okay, I was
spaces. It's
just
kind of,
concerned about
so,
Yeah, we
yeah,
have a
but,
good, well, we had a great department, and all of a sudden it all just went away.
right. But, those, in conservation, if it's
Mhm.
wetlands and things, we have the other groups that are, yeah. It's kind of like, and if it is a property, and conservation, we transferred, I think, 12 or 13 properties to conservation in that meeting. So they were properties we didn't want developed, conservation didn't want developed, and they were transferred to conservation. So they'll be listed as the town of Townsend with.
And they did mention that to me, they said some that were gonna go to conservation, some they wanted to offer to the state, actually. I guess,
We have tried that. Warren Road was one of them. They wanted the back half of the Warren Road property, but in the end, they didn't want it. So now it's gonna be, that whole Warren Road property will be available for sale. So that's gonna be part of, I would anticipate that's part of the next group that will go to auction.
yes, that's good to know. So we
Right
have-
now, there's only two, which isn't very good for auction. And it's kind of like, and it does need to be auctioned. You can't, this is the rules and regulations that the state have come up with. And again, properties committee has, and it's not the properties committee themselves, but the town has new regulations about how you record information and how you get paid back from the sale of these properties. So it's kind
What's
of like
that mean?
well,
Well, it's-
once we had taken tax title before, we sold the property. 100% of that sale went to the town
Yeah.
and went into our general fund.
Mhm.
Now that the state has changed the rules, you have to keep track on your unpaid taxes, lawyer fees, your expenses. You can you can sell a piece of property, but you can only take the expenses that you have related to that property
And the rest of the money goes.
back to the original owner of the property.
John, I know of one piece of property that's going for sale now that has been in tax, whatever,
Mhm.
since like, I wanna say 1935.
Yeah, it's kind of like, the state doesn't differentiate. It's kind of like,
Well, I think-
there has to be a.
Will that go up for auction?
Yeah, it is, it's going up this time.
Should be, yeah.
So how do they determine what the tax base is, the tax?
Who the last holder was and who the relatives may be. I believe there's another expense associated with doing a search for
title search,
relatives.
yeah.
It's kinda like- So, again, it's kind of like, all of those will be, the treasurer is responsible for tracking it and keeping tabs on what.
So we might not, that's not a real good source of revenue anymore.
It should never really be considered a source of revenue.
Oh, no, because it was a
If
tax.
you have
yeah.
those, if you have those, that's good for projects like the fire truck and the one-time expenses.
But you know, personally, I don't think that you should let it go 10, 15 years. I think you should have a rule like it's a 3-year, if they haven't paid, then get it out and put it back on the rolls.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like, the properties that we sold in the last sale, other than the one that was the condo, they were, it's a long drawn out process. All of the driveways were grown over. You couldn't find a driveway into any of these properties. Any that existed had total growth over them.
Yeah, because they waited so long to foreclose on it, yeah.
It's not that, it's the process. It's not, the town, if the town had the ability to do it, they could just go in and take it, but it's not. It's the long process of the courts before you can actually take it. It's kind of like,
No, let me see it, yeah,
Yeah.
It takes a while.
Well, I get
like
it,
a
but-
lot of things, it's kind of like, it's like turning that cruise ship. It's kind of like.
No, I
you can turn
understand
a
that,
speed-
but
the
other
speedboat
states
in-
don't have that long process.
Oh, that's
This is
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts has lots
If
of.
it can be made hard, they're
Oh, I
gonna
know,
make it hard.
involuntary alienation, I get it,
So
okay,
where are we
I
on
get
the
it.
agenda?
Okay.
On the
Let's move
agenda,
on.
went back. So it has reviewed the meeting schedule, but that was really part of the meeting minutes, so
Okay.
we saw them.
Yep.
All right.
And
Review of previous recommendation.
Did we do the recommendation? Did we do the
I
recommendation?
said, I didn't print one out, I just
Okay.
wanted to make sure. If you want, I can call one out.
Yeah,
What is it?
that
Our recommend,
recommendation
Did you
sheet.
give it, did you send it to us?
I didn't, I will send it out.
Oh, okay. I brought my computer in anticipation of using it like a real like corporate person.
Mm.
Okay,
Oh. You look good.
It looked good.
Yeah, sorry, and I brought an extension cord so you could plug it in.
Alright, so I wouldn't like ruin the TV.
Oh, yeah, like, yeah, unplugged it.
Okay, so.
Oh, okay, budget guide.
Yeah, give me a minute, it's kind of like,
Back to the paper and pen. Alright. Now, we're looking for the previous recommendation sheet.
I'm just looking for a recommendation sheet anyway.
When did we do that? Did we do that already?
So,
Jerry, did we do that already?
But the
we had,
recommendation.
I don't know that you were on in August.
No, I wasn't. No,
No,
I wasn't. I was
So-
not, nope, I was still trying to become, you know what?
Well, you made it.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Okay, so I'm in, FinCom recommendations. Let's see.
Review budget guidance. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
So we generally, our FinCom recommendation sheets start with a general statement about everything going on with a particular one. And
Oh,
Each one is individual.
we really want to see these. These are the things that we're gonna use, right, to give to the
This-
residents?
Yeah, so this is an example of what we have prepared.
This is
in the
important,
past.
okay.
And again, we can change it, modify it. This was pretty much just a form. So we would hand this out when we would get them printed, and when they received the warrant list, they would also receive the finance committee recommendations in a separate handout.
But they do them individually, Mary Jane, so every article,
Yeah,
every,
so this
each
is
one would have
just,
their.
yeah, so this is just our general introduction. Then we get down into the articles.
Okay,
Um,
now, is this like the one the state does? It was red and white this year?
Similar, I guess, yeah. It kind of, where they talk about.
Vote yes, and this will
pros and
happen, vote
cons.
no, and that
And we haven't done that, but I've often
let's
considered
do
whether we should have a pro and a con, you know.
What do you think,
Oh,
Jane?
so when I
Um,
Can we vote on that?
Well, let's see, what did these
I
guys
say
do?
yes.
Well, the articles are, I mean, you have to say, you have to write the articles that way,
Right,
right? Because all this is doing is saying, this is the article, this is what the article says.
Mhm.
The finance committee feels that you should vote yes, or you should vote no on it.
that's right, yeah,
Right,
we
so it's
say
not really,
finance committee vote 4-0 in favor.
right. So, and that was.
Okay, we have to
something
make that more clear though.
So that,
But-
that was something that we had not done in the past, is the recording the votes, because if we had something that we voted 4-3 on, it would just say recommended, but in this case, I wanted to start including the votes, because I think it's important
I
for
do
the
too.
town to see
Mhm.
that maybe we're not unanimous, you know.
So
we're not
should-
unanimous.
right,
Should we
right.
put, well, let me ask you this, should we put down, okay, Carol voted yes, Mary Jane voted no, should we say, actually put down who voted what?
We could, I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
how does that
Um,
feel to everybody?
Well, it just makes it gets
Yeah, I
a
don't-
lot of work.
Yeah, I-
It's-
Wordy.
It gets wordy,
Yeah.
and
Wordy,
then
yeah.
it's like,
Right,
yeah, this seems like
I
enough,
think-
because you want to make it,
Yes or no?
you want to make it so people don't look at it and say,
Oh, no, we want to make
I'm
it
not reading that.
concise,
Yeah.
cartoons,
Yeah.
cliff
Yeah.
notes,
yeah, because
dots,
people
yeah.
just glaze over.
They're not gonna
it.
read that, Dawn.
And then they
That's
won't
way too
read
much
too long.
reading.
It-
I
it-
wouldn't read
it-
that.
in-
well,
Are we
much.
gonna do some kind of
Yeah,
an
bullets.
explanation of
Yeah.
why we
That's-
vote
yeah.
in favor of or in
Right.
Or why we
not-
said
or
no, yeah.
yeah, so this one is, you know, it's kind of like this one was, moving the stabilization funds at the time.
See, but then of course you have to tell people what the stabilization funds are, so they would know. Right?
Yeah.
Because not all of us.
You know,
I
that would be a
haven't a
good thing to hand out as to what this word means, what this.
Like a
what
little
our- yeah,
glossary,
Like
a
a
Oh, like a
dictionary.
glossary.
Yes.
This is what,
And I
Well,
don't think that's being too primary, I
I
really
think we
don't.
can, I
No,
mean, for
'cause I
something like
wouldn't
that,
know.
I would say post it on post it on the finance committee page and
Hey,
say,
website,
We
Little
could,
bit
but
there.
everybody.
I
I mean,
know,
we can't print out,
everything.
what about,
can't print out
what about,
everything.
No, I
don't know.
understand that, but
My daughter's always on some Facebook page where she finds out all this finance stuff and then sends me stuff, and then I go and ask Dawn, what does this mean? Because I don't know, so I don't know if we can post
you
it
know what,
like on
you're
a
right, I think
Facebook
there should be
page.
Yeah,
like
you
a
could do
glossary
that.
on, there should be a glossary on the finance committee, I agree 1,000%.
All the time,
Yeah, well, it wouldn't change.
no.
Well,
Right.
we,
So let's ask the people
Right
who are
here.
gonna vote. So
Who's
do
gonna-
you
yeah.
think that should happen?
Oh, a glossary or a little?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%, how about
See,
you?
people just don't know. I didn't know.
but in the back here is the glossary, so we
Yeah, but
just.
who's gonna
We
read
just
that?
put a, good, we can just
Oh.
copy and paste it, and put it on the
Appendix
website,
G.
who does that?
Appendix G,
Page 132.
Oh, I can't read this.
How's that?
well, that works.
That's a
It's
cheat
gonna-
sheet,
it's a
that,
start, but,
Oh,
oh, little steps, oh,
Okay.
perfect.
oh, yeah,
Oh, look, it's
Chair,
even
does
got,
it recognize?
yeah.
I'm sorry, I think that's an excellent idea, because when I was at the town meeting, I was trying to ask questions, and it's like, and it felt like I wasn't well received for asking. questions.
that's what we wanna avoid, we wanna
Right, no,
embrace
you-
the residents.
I felt
right.
like there was-
Come and ask. That's what I say. Look how great that is, and it's
Yeah,
full, and it's
Mhm.
big.
it's nice, yeah,
okay.
okay.
Do we vote on this?
But do we need all of it?
Wait a minute.
We
that's
might wanna go
what
we
through,
might
we
want
wanna
to.
take it and edit certain ones that, you know what, break it into common and obscure.
A lot of it's obscure.
Yeah, that's what you don't.
I don't
have to
think I've ever
worry.
seen this word arbitrage.
I don't think we
Ever.
have to worry about boat excise. Well, maybe. Do we?
Well,
I don't know.
people with boats do.
Well,
I
yeah, I
know,
guess. Yeah.
But again, the common ones.
How
that-
often do you
and
use that
more
one? I think just
frequently
Common ones that
Yeah.
people really wanna know.
Yeah.
what they-
The ones that we use typically at town meeting.
At meetings, right.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Here's
Very
one I
nice.
bet nobody knows, CUSIP, CUSIP.
what is it?
This stands for the Standard Securities Classification System developed by the Committee of Uniform Security Identification Procedures of the American Banking Association.
Yeah, see, we don't need that.
We don't
one.
need it.
Know that
But,
one.
but there are much bigger, this book is put together for small towns and large cities.
Cities, yeah.
So I
it's
would
kinda
pick
like,
it,
so-
I would pick.
Oh,
and
they
choose.
use that in Boston, but
Yeah.
not in Townsend.
Yeah,
Nice.
because if you're in Boston,
It's
then
discriminatory.
you need the Boston thing, you need the boat thing.
It's discriminatory.
But, um,
They have boats.
They have
Yeah, but
boats.
we should just, pick
But
the ones that really, people would
The
really.
top 20,
That's top 20.
the most common, the ones that are most commonly used
Used,
at town,
exactly,
at
Right.
town
And-
meeting,
And
and
again,
that's all we
it's kind of
need.
like, I'm looking
Even
here.
abbreviations, a lot of times they'll say, well, you have ASC or.
oh, just
yeah.
right, yeah, MGL. So you know that if you're in the know, but if you're not, you have no idea. And people talk like that in those
Exactly.
acronyms, and you're saying,
So-
okay, okay.
And I'll
Right.
tell
You have
you,
no clue.
working for the Department of Defense, all we ever did was talk in
Oh,
acronyms.
of course.
Oh, well, that's
It-
like federal
And the
government.
worst thing is if you went from
One
one project and then went to a different project,
They,
and they used the same acronym, but it meant something
something else,
different,
yeah.
something
Oh, good
different. And then you'd have to use,
Now we get what's going on out there, federal government, federal level. I think this is
It
great.
is, okay, so we'll take the glossary and condense it to common, to uncommon,
And put it on the website, Dave. That was brilliant, brilliant.
and more work.
No, it's not more work because we
No,
don't have,
no, more work for the people doing the postings, but,
well, why,
haven't put
why?
that-
Isn't that what they get paid for?
yep, they haven't put
Okay,
that to me
let's
yet.
get them working.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Put your money to it.
Okay, so,
okay.
Where are we? Okay.
so.
We're on the
that- and again,
recommendation
that's-
list,
That's what we
Jerry.
did with the
Okay,
recommendation,
yeah.
sheet. We want them.
I think we do have to tweak it a little.
That's fine.
Is that okay with you?
In what way?
Well, I personally think it's a bit wordy.
Well, but if you go up to some of the, it depends on the article. Some of the articles are wordy, some of them aren't.
Some of the articles might have
Right,
to
say
get
like that
worded,
one's not wordy at all.
Wait, let me look. The impact could be negative.
negated.
Negated if other articles returning money into the general fund passed prior to this article.
That was a
Well,
little,
but that was-
that's kind of a
that was-
confusing,
It's short, but
I mean,
it's kind of confusing.
yeah.
Well, but
if you wanna, I think that's as concise as you can get on that. Or, I mean, I don't know, I don't remember what that article was, but I'm sure the article,
That must be the one in
well,
front.
the article was, this particular one was,
Did it relate to another one?
if.
Yeah, it does,
Yeah,
obviously,
there
but-
was, there was
Yeah.
the
The one
other
above it
articles.
is. the
And
one above it?
usually, if it relates to other articles, it was reference to what the other articles
Oh.
right,
were.
right.
That's not in there, right?
No, but this isn't, we don't wanna restate the article here.
No,
just
no, I
wanna
get
say-
it, I get it, I
Right.
get it.
No.
But the other thing, if we get the article soon enough and do this, when they print it, it can have the article and our recommendation on the same
Same
page.
page,
Yeah.
yeah,
It can.
yeah.
If we get the article soon enough.
And aren't there rules about when we're supposed to get the article?
There are, and it's kind of like, and I spoke to, Nelson on that.
And we are gonna get them in the timely fashion, correct?
Yeah, the hope is, yeah. It's kind
The
of like,
hope.
wait, the word was yes.
So go with yes, go
yeah,
with
okay.
positive thinking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you for recognizing me. I have another question. I'm pretty new to all this,
Yeah.
articles, except for the meeting, the town meeting,
Mhm.
the
It's for-
items that we need to discuss or vote, whatever.
Right, yeah, so that if there's a financial article, the finance committee will make a recommendation on it. If there's something like zoning, the recommendation, we have.
If it doesn't have a financial
If it doesn't have financial impact, we don't recommend it or not, or we don't make a recommendation on that article because it's not in our.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Article's not in the dictionary.
I wanted to ask you one question, because
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that refers to the big issue of the schools and if was it Prop 2.5?
Proposition
Prop 2.5.
2.5.
Does that refer to that if that would pass and
No, there were other articles adjusting money into the general fund,
Oh, I
so we're reducing lines. And if there was more money in the general fund, then you didn't need that. If, let's say, Article 2 and Article 3 were, so Article 3 was the one, it may be negated if Article 2 failed to pass. If Article 2 wanted money and it didn't pass, there might be money for Article 3, and it might be not necessary. At that point, they might make a motion not to.
Have to consider it,
Yeah, they,
table it.
table it, yeah. It's kind of like,
I
but,
think that's
or
a
if they,
mandatory.
if the
But I
money.
think all, like, all the acronyms should be.
Be
printed out
explained,
and
yeah.
be explained, because I don't know half of them either.
No, it's
Yeah.
crazy, it's crazy.
Okay.
But it's almost like created obscurity so that you don't understand it.
Yeah,
So-
and again, we talk about that, learning curve, that some of them is the acronyms.
Well, you think
Right,
We
right,
get so
right.
used to using them that we
Mhm.
just assume that. you
I know,
just assume
and
anything.
you're right, and we
Yeah.
forget that other people
Right.
aren't sitting
Yeah.
here.
Yeah,
So anyway, that, I just wanted to show that, because you had the ones from the other towns, so we could certainly change it. We were talking about, modifying what we had done in the past, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
am I-
very
am
good,
I up to
though.
changing it? It's kind of like, we can, it's kind of like,
so do we wanna do like an explanation and then a recommendation? That's what this is Pepperell's.
well,
that's what Pepper does.
Yeah, they explain it and then they do a
Do
recommendation.
they explain it or do they write it out?
yeah, see, we put our recommendation first on the article, so it's right at the article, and then.
And
if
then you
wanna-
explain it?
Then you explain
Explain
it
it.
Well,
underneath.
I wanna
Okay.
see the departments present their own articles this year, and so people have questions, I want them to be able to ask those questions to the
Mhm.
department, not to the board of selectmen, but to the department.
Well, can the people come to these meetings when the department head is there?
Anybody
Can come to
these
any-
meetings.
Yeah, these
they're
are
open,
open meetings.
they're all
This is
open meetings.
So if they came to this meeting, when we talked to just say Board of Health, just say,
All
then they
meetings
could
are
ask the Board of
we
Health
have to-
themselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or
And I like that
we
idea.
may have to.
It's- they have the
manage that a little.
knowledge.
The meetings would go on, likely go on too long. It's kind of.
Well, you
You
can
might have
judge
to
that, though.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
you
if we
might
have
have to
4 people,
Yeah.
Yeah, you
it's
got
kind of like
a
the
minute
committee.
each, you can't give them 5 minutes. because
Right,
they'll
right.
just
They kinda-
Repeat,
Yeah.
repeat.
Yeah. so
Yeah,
that-
and
Yeah, no
ask the
repeating.
same
Yeah.
questions
Yeah.
again.
Same time,
Yeah.
different
20
ways.
times,
Yeah.
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 Yes,
kinda-
which,
but I think that the more people know in advance, the easier it's gonna be for us to get the message out. And that's our
Right.
responsibility, I think, to get the information.
Right.
Well, but.
And I know-
You can get the information up, but you can't make people take it.
No, I
No,
understand that, but you can feel better
Yeah.
about our effort,
Yeah,
because heretofore, it hasn't been done, Dave. I mean, I have never seen it done. I mean, excuse me, that's not true. When I was younger, they used to do it all the time. But then there was like this spate. And it hasn't been done, at least since I've been back here.
Mhm.
So somewhere along the line, it got dropped.
So,
When the
Yes, it did.
selectmen stopped greeting the people at the door and saying, thank you for coming, and took their seats at the top of the kingdom.
did they used to do that?
Absolutely, they were at the front door and they're saying, hi, thank you for coming, good to see you, and they knew almost everybody that walked through the door, just like John Barrett
Then
does.
we moved in, yeah.
And then, well, no, I mean, new people too, I mean,
Yeah.
they knew
No, I-
everybody,
It's.
They
yeah.
made a point of knowing.
they made a point of knowing.
Okay,
It's all
Okay,
work in
so-
the crowd.
working there.
Yeah, it is, but that's what people wanna know, yeah, instead of you're not allowed to talk, no questions.
And I had emailed out the, the guidance letter from.
Oh, now you say, we got the email, I put my computer away.
Yeah, no, it's kind of, and there's a.
Oh, is the one from,
This is the one from
Nelson?
Nelson,
Dated December 4th.
dated December 4th. Yeah,
okay,
This letter is intended to initiate the FY 2026 budget process and give guidance to department heads in their budget prep.
it's kind of, the bullet-
Based on the budget, okay, John, what's this mean? Based on the budget, the town is close to the maximum levy limit.
Okay, yep.
Levy limit, what's that?
That's a whole, that's a whole course if you were doing college, we'd have a whole college course.
Okay, Cliff Notes.
That's proposition 2.5.
Okay.
Okay, so the levy limit is 2.5% above your taxes. Hang on, let me,
From last year.
from the
last
last
year.
year, with growth. So let me call up this spreadsheet
With
again.
growth, here's the key word.
Right,
So 2.5, but we didn't vote for 2.5.
no,
No, no, no. you
That's
don't have to
automatic.
vote.
You don't have to vote
If you
that.
can keep the increase at 2.5 or below.
Yeah.
You don't have to have.
That's another 2.5.
Then you can just do
Right.
that. It's
Yeah.
when you wanna go more than 2.5, then you have to do
2.5%.
the override.
It's already
Oh,
yeah.
okay, so 2.5, oh, so
Proposition
2.5 is the limit.
Is, yes,
proposition 2.5 is exactly
So
that.
if your taxes were 1, they couldn't go up to 3.5.
Right,
right,
So if we take a look at the spreadsheet, I have it up, the levy limit calculation. You start with
2023 was 18 million.
and then the 2.5, this is 2.5% of the 18.
Oh, okay, 459,000.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then the new growth was 201,000. And so the levy limit is for FY 23 was 19,
what's the new, how do you get the new growth?
Yeah, how do you get the new
calculation?
growth? How did that
the assessor. The assessor provides it.
Like, what's that new growth based on? Housing, people,
Housing,
is that based on like new housing or just housing
Well, it
value?
can't be new housing because we don't have any.
it's not the housing value so much, it's the
Yes.
value of the property that was improved or built from scratch, and on the tax rolls for that amount, that came in during the year, what would be the annual base?
Okay, so if I add a structure to my house,
Mhm,
then that change in value gets added as new
right.
Growth.
new
New
growth.
New growth.
If I don't do anything to my house this year, I have no new growth contributing to that, to
Correct.
those.
Yeah,
oh,
Okay.
So do we
okay.
know what the new housing starts are in town?
I don't have that number off the top of my head.
I don't think
We
it's
can-
huge.
We can see that, it's not huge, but.
But it includes, like Dave said,
Whatever
additions
new
and,
garage.
oh, that's right, you did, thank you for contributing to the new growth.
Yeah.
So-
New growth,
So
whatever
yes,
garage.
it's kind of like, so it's any.
Okay,
it's-
okay.
It's additions and,
Now, would that
And new
include,
housing starts.
and so that would include these properties that got sold, if someone put something on them and now they're back on the tax rolls, that would be
Oh,
new
okay,
growth,
yes.
right?
Okay, very good.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, so that's good.
so
Okay.
that's
Okay,
the
Still don't
new
know how they
growth
get
number. And then you can see
Yeah.
they just carry it into, that's the starting number for FY 24.
Right,
Where
Okay,
the 2.5 property growth is,
Mhm.
is now off the higher number. So
Yeah.
we get a little bit more in the 2.5, but you
right,
can see the new growth in 24 was not significant.
not at all, it was
Um,
half of what it
well,
was in 2020.
Now, again, it probably has to
And
do
look at
a little bit
2025,
with,
it's lower still.
it's about, well,
it's an estimate.
it's an
Oh.
estimate so far. It's kind of like, going in, but in 23, we were probably on the tail end of the, COVID builds. Everybody built a lot of additions and things during. that
Oh,
time.
that's right, instead
So
of
it's
selling
kinda
their
like,
house,
so-
they
So, yeah.
did
it-
stuff
it's
to it,
kinda
yeah.
like, there's just little pieces. The 130 is about what I remember from other
Okay.
years.
Oh, that's
but-
like the sustainable number that
Yeah.
Townsend.
Yeah, it's kind of like, and that's the piece, but.
So we're starting out with 265,000 times 2.5?
No,
No. So we started at 19, so
Yeah.
the number at the end of 2024
Mhm,
was the 19,644. That's our starting number,
mhm,
and then we do 2.5%, so you're at 491,000.
mhm. And so then,
That's the 2.5 increase, and then the new growth.
and then it goes, so it's 20,265,720 is the number we're working with, because we're doing.
that's the number we're allowed, that's our allowable budget. We don't have to go that high.
Right, we
We
don't
can
have
go
to.
less than that.
Right,
Which
But we're
one?
in 2026, aren't we?
no.
No, this is, we're entering fiscal, we're in fiscal,
25.
no, we're in fiscal 26.
we're
We're
Fiscal
26.
26.
Oh, we are?
we're budgeting for fiscal 26.
Yeah.
We're budgeting.
We're
Okay,
gonna be
so it's
budgeting.
Okay,
We're
we're
budgeting for 26, so we
Yeah.
can, we have to add something to that number, right?
But doesn't fiscal year 26 start July?
July 1.
July
Yes.
1,
Right,
Right.
so
but we're working on that budget now.
Right.
Right.
So, so is the 20,265 the
plus.
starting,
That'll be the
Yes.
starting
going
point
for the
for,
26
for 26.
budget? Okay.
yeah. So this was put together because we were working on the fiscal year
Okay.
25 budget.
So we know the 2265, 720
So,
times 2.5, right?
Right,
Will give us 500,000 something.
Yeah.
And then the unknown number is the 130 for the new growth. We don't know what
Right.
that's gonna be. So the budget, yeah, okay, so it's gonna be around 22,000, $22 million. Does that sound better? We're doing
What,
it
where'd
right
you
now.
get the 22 million?
Because you're gonna take the
so
20,
no, it's gonna be 20,
almost 21. It's kinda
almost
like-
21.
Yeah,
oh, that's not bad. Okay,
so your increase is 506,000 on the
Okay.
2.5.
the estimate
Plus-
bags,
plus the growth.
the estimated bags. Could we go with the bags?
How many bags?
Yeah, how many bags?
It's kind of like, but again, it's kind of like we have salaries increasing, costs are gonna increase, so, all of those different pieces, but
Yeah, we gotta get that under control.
Yeah.
Salaries
Yeah.
increasing,
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, the real world, they don't go up every day.
I know, that's what I'm
You
saying.
know, some people work for 10 years and never get a raise.
That's right, that's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
We gotta,
Yeah. So.
Small business
anyway,
owners
I-
work
I
their whole
told-
life practically, no get a raise.
I'm not gonna say
No kidding.
this, because this was the original spreadsheet, so I didn't
Yeah.
wanna modify it, so.
Mhm.
right,
Okay.
I'm not gonna say that, but just for our discussion, that was, I was
Okay.
able to throw them in and.
No, that's good, Dave.
Okay,
Give you what, and then, in addition, we do have debt that's excluded from 2.5, like when we voted the schools, that money is not part of 2.5, a 2.5 exclusion was voted for that. So it's, exclusion is different than the override. So it's kind of like, the
Good
exclusion,
Lord, here we go.
no,
Okay.
wait,
Mhm.
but
Can't
this
wait
is
to hear
this is the part that we don't necessarily dig into, is Proposition 2.5 says, yes, 2.5 is my maximum override, but if you voted an article or had we have to vote at town meeting and then have an election, and we can vote an exclusion to 2.5, so you can charge, like the school, we said, the school will pay for, but we exclude it from our 2.5. So that's what this number is when you're, in addition to the 2.5 override, you've excluded a couple of things.
So that is your budget, does your number go up that you need?
Yes. Like, well, it doesn't go up by
Goes
what you
more
need.
than the 2.5
It-
would.
that's the override amount.
That's the so this is the override amount. So we had the 20,265, we had overridden 1,448 for the schools. So that we said, we knew we were gonna pay for it, but they're excluded, they can be in addition to the 2.5.
Yeah, that's where
oh,
you're.
so you're saying that,
Oh, and the
that number
taxes won't go- and
21
the
does
taxes
not,
won't go
does
up.
not become the basis for
No,
the
it
next
does.
2.5
Because
increase.
you just
Right.
voted
Yeah.
To raise your taxes
to raise
2.5%.
it.
So
No,
the-
oh, more than 2.5%.
Right, so this
Because
is,
that-
Oh,
right, when you,
Because
when,
that's what the override does,
Right.
is
Well,
raises your
no.
tax.
no, the
No?
override is different.
It doesn't raise
Oh,
your taxes?
Override is on the top lines here, 55, 56, 57, and 58. That's where an override would come in.
Oh,
This is excluded from the override. So we raise our taxes with this, and this is the 2.5 line is line 57.
right.
This says, we voted to not include the cost of the schools that we were paying for.
so you just subtract it from what? The 19,644?
It's not
No, it's
being
not
subtracted,
subtracted.
it's being added to, as you set your tax rate.
Oh, you,
So,
Yeah,
so
so,
your taxes go up even more.
well, so,
Well-
no, what he's saying is the tax rate is based on the 21,714.
Okay.
Right.
But the basis for next year's 2.5% is staying at the 20,265.
Yeah.
We basically said, okay, here's a one-time 1.448 that we're gonna
Okay,
add,
all right.
but it's not going into
Until
the
the
base for
schools-
next
For
year.
next year.
Until
So
the
exclude it
school-
from the base.
Yeah,
Okay.
until the schools are paid off, then that line goes away.
Schools?
Oh,
There is a
this
place
is-
where the schools get, there's a point in
20,
one's
25
life?
years? Yeah, I
Oh.
would think. It's
No,
gonna,
the old school.
Pay, oh, when it was paid
Oh,
for
the
the
mortgage
building of the
on the
school?
debt,
Right.
the
Yeah.
debt,
Oh,
The
the
debt
debt
on the-
carrier.
the debt on the high
Okay,
school.
on the debt
debt
carrier.
on the high school.
Oh, that's what
and
that's
the
all
tax.
about?
Oh, okay.
I'd say, there might be one or two other little ones in there. But those
Okay,
are, those are the big ones that stick in my mind.
okay.
Excuse me, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman. Thank you. You know, with regard to the 2025 budget,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to get a sense of things. So is there another override gonna be put to the town again to see if we can not close 2 schools?
That's for FY '26. The closing of the schools is not FY '25.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's
all right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I'm sure there's other questions out there like that. It's kind of like,
Yeah, we're not closing
Yeah.
next week.
Right. Well, thank you for entertaining my
Yeah.
questions. I really appreciate it.
But this is what we want the residents to
Yes.
ask questions, that's what,
It's
The
important.
way
Huge
the
to us.
fiscal year runs, it's a little weird. It goes from July to July, so we're in fiscal '25 right now.
Oh, okay.
Next July, even though it's gonna be
Oh,
July
wow.
of 2025, we're entering fiscal '26.
Well, no wonder I was
So we're
doing
working on,
Oh,
oh,
yeah,
Carol,
yeah.
what's coming up now?
we're gonna have a little fun.
Oh,
2026,
Yeah.
2025.
yeah, exactly. There's-
Well, I don't know what year it is.
Yeah, we have to get like a little,
Yeah.
sign that we put up, 2025, 2026.
Yeah. So there's gonna be a, one of the things, the summary of full-time equivalent, it's kind of like, I'm thinking I wanna also let them put out the question, is benefited positions. It's kind of like, so full-time, if you
Oh, you
have,
skipped.
sorry.
Where are you? Just tell me where you are. I know you skipped it.
Third bullet from the bottom,
Fourth from the bottom.
third from the bottom.
Please include a summary of full-time equivalent.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go, FTE,
Yep,
FTE,
yep.
full-time equivalent.
full-time equivalent personnel. That means people that
Work
Everyone.
full
So
time.
let's see.
they work 40 hours.
That's what, okay, so if you have 2 people that work 20 hours, that's 1 full-time equivalent.
Okay,
You're
If
gonna
you
be
have
kidding.
4 that
That's how
work
it's
10
that's how it
That,
works.
it's just a simple math
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
If you
same-
have,
Math thing.
yeah,
yeah, if you have 4 people that work 10 hours,
Mhm.
that's, you know.
Oh, so it doesn't matter how much they make or any of that business,
No.
just that the
No,
hours.
just how
We're
many
talking
hours they
hours.
work.
Okay,
Right,
all right.
but
FTE,
that
full-time
tells you
equivalent.
a single piece of information,
is
But
it a 40, based on a 40 hour?
it's based on a 40-hour,
Yeah, work week,
you know,
okay.
probably plus or minus a little.
Well, let me
maybe
ask you this,
38.
John.
No, 40 or not.
Okay, so you split a 20-hour job.
Right.
Okay. I think over 20 hours could be insurance funded.
And that's why I say,
So 19 and a half hours is
I
what
want-
they,
right, they usually,
Cap you at?
yes,
they want to
they
get.
they'll try to cap it.
Oh,
at
so you don't
Because
get
your
that.
insurance
Right.
package probably runs, how much, 26,000?
I know,
They're
but you know,
plus or
there's
minus a little
something
bit.
just doesn't work for me when we just do that on purpose to people.
No, it's kind of like, but
Well, you
when
have to
we,
think about
when we
Okay,
see-
no, but you know,
when we see the budgets from the departments,
uh,
we don't see insurance. So insurance is a whole separate section.
oh, why
in the
don't we see
budget.
insurance? Don't they pay it? Well, for
We
heaven's
pay it,
sake.
but it's not,
Well,
we
it
have to
doesn't
see
come
it.
It
directly
doesn't come
from
under each
a line
department.
item in each department.
Comes under.
But-
Where does it
again,
come from? Well, we can ask that
It,
question.
Health
well, it
insurance.
comes from an insurance line. It's kind of like, so,
Oh, but we don't know who's in that line.
There could be
Right, so-
40 people
so
in that
that's-
line
that's a
and 20
piece.
in this one, we
Yeah.
don't know.
on the
We can
full-time,
ask though.
on the
Doesn't
full-time
make any
equivalent, we
Put that
wanna
on the
know how many
checklist,
benefited
Carol.
positions.
Put that on
Benefited
the
positions.
checklist.
But
What's
it
with the
really doesn't make
insurance?
any difference. how
Why
many-
not?
Because if his department has 20 people and my department has 15 people, and all of his are funded and all of mine are funded, I mean, if it's over so many hours, you don't have a choice.
Yeah,
Right,
But,
So I can't say I'm not gonna hire you, because I don't wanna pay your insurance.
but that's what they're saying. If they only give you 19 and a half
Well,
hours.
they don't. That was just an example.
Oh,
Right.
oh,
yeah, no, they set the
okay.
hours on the position.
They set the hours.
It's kind of like,
But, and
But
not
somebody
every-
could work 20 hours and somebody could work 10 hours and somebody could work 30.
right,
and you
Right.
have, so
But you have
that.
different obligations, right,
FT
between the 10 and the
And-
30.
and not
Right.
everybody
So
takes
your
insurance.
Your FTE, then that would be 1, because it totals
Right.
to 40 in a
Mhm.
week, but you have 1 benefited position, not 2. It's kind of
But a
like,
lot of times a husband
I
and a
think it
wife,
should be
one will
clear.
carry the insurance. and-
Right, a lot of people work
Yeah.
just to insure, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, so please
but-
include a summary of
but
full-time.
we can't count on that. You have to
No.
budget as if every employee is gonna, that's eligible, will take it.
we'll take
Because other
it.
than that, you'll have an insurance.
So when you say
Yeah.
level funded, that means the same as last year?
Correct.
So level,
Yeah, level funded from FY
I'm putting these on,
'25.
these have to
let's
go in the
say-
definition.
But isn't it so, Don, let's say that
Where did you
somebody
say
makes
level funded?
$40,000.
Mhm.
Well, that
Level
insurance
funded,
package
you
is
mean
worth
level-
25,000.
level
So it's
funded,
actually
um,
$65,000.
Correct, for the employee,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then there's the,
And then what is the percentage that do we know the percentage what they pay here, if the people? Do we know that percentage?
we can find out that,
All right.
you know, it's kind
I'm
of,
just
I think
curious.
they're doing another contract. I think it was a 20%. It sounds,
What was your question?
how much
Mrs.
do they
How much
co-pay?
does the
on the insurance?
employee pay compared to what we're, is it 30%, is it 25%?
Oh, for insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah, co-pay for the insurance.
Oh, the,
they pay a portion.
right,
Well,
I
It's all right.
understand. Oh, so they
Yeah.
don't pay 100%.
Yeah.
No, usually they don't.
They don't.
Yeah,
Most places don't,
no, most
big
places don't.
industries don't.
And then on his last one, he said trash hauling. He's looking to see if they can go to, save any money by going to a bi-weekly pickup over a week.
Every 2 weeks?
Yeah, yeah.
Trash hauling disposal expenses with a weekly and bi-weekly option.
Bi-weekly,
I think,
twice a
well,
week,
I think he means bi-monthly.
bi-monthly,
Bi-monthly.
bi-week.
Let's
Yeah.
hope.
Oh, yeah,
One never
that's-
knows.
Yeah, that's probably a
So
mistake.
that's for the town departments though,
Right.
that item, right?
No, I think that's specifically for Board of Health.
Oh, okay, to say, go
Oh.
to Shaw's and say, if we change our schedule, rather than
Right.
doing it weekly, if we do it
Yeah.
only once every other week,
Right.
what does that do to the
Right.
Right.
cost?
Or
And
twice a
and
month,
again,
however
I've
that
seen the
works.
buy, the buy is a prefix. Can
Yeah,
either
cause some
be
months
twice a
it
week
would be
or
like,
every other
Oh my
week.
Get
God,
three.
it's like getting your paycheck, right? You don't
Like-
know when you're getting it.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
the use.
Every other week.
Yeah.
Okay, so
First
he's
is
basically saying,
16,
let's get the option
52
of
weeks.
no,
doing
you
it
should
every
get
other
paid
week.
bi-weekly in
See
those
if it
three,
saves anything.
three check months
But
were
still,
great.
you know, yeah.
You still gotta have
Once
the
you
truck.
can live.
You still gotta
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
That's great.
you know,
Yeah,
you have
Please
to
include
go
a summary
pick
of
up a
full-time.
town and do the same
All
thing with the
non-salary
town.
lunch.
In different parts of town, I mean, I get my trash picked up on Thursday and you probably get your picked up on
Friday.
I'm
Right.
Tuesday, I'm
Yeah,
Tuesday.
so I
yeah,
mean,
mine's
they're
Wednesday,
here every day, yeah,
right,
Yeah,
right.
So,
Right,
Yeah.
other than
Oh, they
Monday,
hear every
Tuesday.
day regard,
Monday through.
yeah, but they wouldn't come next week. They'd only
Right.
come this week and then,
If we did it bi-weekly.
Yeah.
If we buy,
Yeah.
that doesn't always make it cheaper though.
monthly.
You know how some people
no,
split
that,
the
that,
extra?
that
Yeah.
doesn't always make it cheaper, it
Yeah.
could actually
Yeah.
make it more
More
expensive.
so
Right,
you really have to kind
Well,
of
that's why he's saying, let's
look at it,
look at it.
because,
with the Board of Health.
and again, it's kind of like, it's more about the tonnage that he's gonna be dropping, and it's gonna be the same amount of tonnage.
Right.
It's gonna
Yeah.
be just about-
How,
It's gonna be,
no, I thought, did you
Well-
listen to Irene? She said no, because
Right.
recycling was gonna increase
Yeah, well,
and trash was gonna.
did you
de-
believe Irene?
Okay, hang on.
I tried
Do you
to,
know, do you
I
know how
wanted
much the
to-
tipping fee is for trash?
I don't
Do you
even
know how
know,
much the tipping fee is for recycling?
I don't know what a tipping fee is to
Okay.
start.
Okay, so a tipping fee is the cost per ton of the refuse on the truck
Mhm.
in the recycling.
Okay,
So
to
typically,
tip it off the truck, is that what you're saying?
like you measure the truck, the weight of the truck with stuff going in,
Mhm.
and then you measure the truck empty coming out.
Oh, just
And the
like
difference-
MJ Metal.
Right, yeah, exactly. So that difference in tonnage is then you calculate the tipping fee.
Okay,
Trash is 105, recycling is 105.
I was
It's
gonna
the
say, they
same?
call it all together.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's
Oh,
kind
okay,
of like,
so,
so
really? Then why
that's
are we
why we
paying,
have to
why are
see
we
a
not paying?
contract.
Oh,
it's kind
oh,
of like, we have to see the contract. It's
gotta
kind
see
of
the
like,
contract.
but when the one you're looking
Contract.
at, you'll see the tipping fees. are
Now, when you
identical.
say the contract, is the old one or you want to see the
Yeah,
new one, Dawn?
As time
The
goes
new
on, they don't
proposal.
know what the tipping
The new
fees are.
proposal.
And then it's
So,
for either one,
right,
and they don't.
Should we have
yeah.
the old
Yeah.
one just to give it, like, eyes to see what they did? Or does that not matter?
what's that?
On the, we are gonna look at the contracts, correct?
I don't know if we.
No, we won't, because that's Board of Health's job.
Right. I mean,
Their job.
we can see what
They'll
they're
come to
presenting.
us.
But how are we gonna know?
They'll
if
come
we-
to us and
Right,
tell us.
we'll-
Yeah,
They'll be on the list to come to us, but we can send them a letter that says we want to.
We would prefer, we would like to have
Yeah.
the hard evidence in our hand to
It-
see it ourselves. Because some people interpret things one way and other people interpret it
Right.
another.
And we want to, you know,
All right.
the pieces of the money that we're
Yeah,
trying to provide, so.
so, where are we now?
So are we looking for anything specific that's a red flag on these budget proposals?
Yeah, any increase.
It-
Any
Okay, as soon
large
as we see an
increase.
increase, beep, beep.
well,
Yeah.
we asked
Anything
if-
that says
and we're gonna look
miscellaneous.
for,
miscellaneous.
No
or-
more, no
more
miscellaneous.
Yeah.
well,
Or-
this, gonna be miscellaneous and other, but there has to be descriptions of. what's on in there.
Descriptions of miscellaneous.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
they
so
can
it's
have
what's fall
miscellaneous.
into a
So
line
I wanna
item.
know what
there's a notes
miscellaneous is.
column in the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Kinda like, so,
So no
Yeah.
other's not gonna
Well,
fly
it could be
without,
there.
just
It
without,
could be there with an explanation.
with an
Yeah.
explanation.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
I just want an
explain.
explanation, though. I mean, I don't want somebody to ask for 150,000 under miscellaneous, I wanna know
Mhm.
what's under
Right,
miscellaneous.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they can categorize it
They can
as long
categorize it,
as long
yeah.
as
Because
they say.
miscellaneous to, fire is gonna be miscellaneous to, Board of Health, it's gonna be different.
Right, everybody have
Miscellaneous to Kathy's, position.
yeah.
Yeah, so as long as they
Miscellaneous.
just say what it is.
Yeah,
Then there's no problem with
Right.
that.
Okay, so
We
nothing,
just don't want a
so,
lot of miscellaneous.
you
so
want
an
no
increase is a red flag.
right, right, it needs to be backed up and increases, the salaries that they talked about, any increases over that. And again, this is, we have to watch, there are department heads that have individual contracts, and then there are areas like police and fire that have their own contracts with separate,
So
with
police,
their union.
what about unions?
Yeah. Well, they.
are they union, police and fire? They
Yeah,
are,
they
right?
They have,
Yeah,
they
but
have
we
their
have-
own, they have their own union.
But we
And they
have a
negotiate
union here for
separate.
town hall too.
Right.
Town hall people have a union?
Mhm.
Right, yeah, there are some non-unionized people, mostly,
Town hall has a union.
Jess is a union, Kathy's not.
right, so Kathy's an elected position.
Jess is-
Right, so she would
Jess
be
is-
like-
yeah,
But,
Jess is
but I
a-
mean,
A lot of them are.
see, I
union
just
up here.
guess I have the wrong, definition of union. I thought that they protected you from physical harm and things like that, but apparently not.
Yeah,
Well, no, municipal unions basically suck money out of taxpayers.
I was just, exactly, I didn't wanna say it that way, but yes, exactly. You're
Yes.
gonna break
That's
your
what it
nail,
is.
go down to
Yeah.
Townsend,
Yeah,
girls right down there and get them bandaged and fixed.
yeah. You said it well, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
But I have another, but I have a question.
Yep.
You know, okay, so they get the 2.5, let's say,
Okay.
but then they get COLA for another 2, which is now we're up
2
to
and 2.
4.5.
Wait, who we talking about here?
Yeah, COLA is just,
The base, the step.
No, no, but didn't we discuss that earlier about not everybody gets a cost of living increase just because they live?
Well, but these are probably in the union contracts.
Right.
Well,
That's-
usually,
Oh, okay.
well, if it's done like a lot of places, you'll have whatever
right,
you think, and then as each year goes, you
Yeah.
get a step increase.
There's a step plus the COLA,
Depending on your
so
length
whether,
of
whether
service,
you're a good worker or not, you're gonna get,
and then
pretty
there's,
much.
then there's longevity, so.
But see,
Pretty
that just,
much.
but, you know, okay, so that's how the government works.
Mhm.
And I guess we are a government,
but,
so we have to consider, it. But in the world of business and corporate, they say, okay, what's the bottom line? Oh, I'm sorry, we're not making enough money, so you can't have any.
Well, that's,
Or
we have
usually
to,
you get a-
we have to
That's
do,
not
we have
good
to try
yet.
to take that tack when we when the next contract comes.
Right.
Yeah, because I think that's an important
Right,
tag.
how long are the contracts?
I
They-
think
they
3 years,
stagger.
I think they're all 3 years.
And they're staggered.
yeah, so
Yeah.
not everybody's up at
Yeah.
the same time.
And it's
Right,
not like
but-
that we want to scare anybody and say you can't have money, it's just that the town doesn't have money, and everybody has to chip in a little
Right,
bit.
and if you want
Like
to
the
continue
bullet.
getting money, it's kind of like from the town, it's kind of like, in
So
those
now
are the
what, you're over
pieces, I mean,
2.5.
I would
Right.
prefer my taxes not to go up, not even 1 cent.
Right.
Even though it's going up 1% because of CPA, I would,
Oh,
and the
it's-
bags.
Well, and it's gonna go
Okay.
up 2.5% next year, because it goes up to
It goes up
2.5%.
to-
So, but don't you
roughly,
think that,
if the costs
4.5%
go
is,
if we don't need it to cover the budget, then it can go less than 2.5. I mean, 2.5 is
The max.
the max, that it will go up before. any-
yeah, but then we get CPA,
Well, CPA is a whole different, that's a.
and we're paying for our trash. So, I mean, the reality of the money coming out of our pockets
It's going up.
is going up
Yeah.
immensely.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
gonna-
based on the assessed value of the property,
And-
which is,
And so those
Another
are the
whole
pieces,
issue.
and I think all of the options that are available to people with CPA need to hit it.
yeah,
And
but not everybody qualifies for the options to opt out.
No, they don't.
not everybody does, but it's kind of like, but it has to be clear and.
But we should
how to
have
get there.
another tutorial to let everybody know
Mhm.
it's blah, blah, blah. And I
I
also,
mean, even maybe open office, you know, have an open meeting day where you.
I'm
yeah,
gonna
open
say-
office day would be great, I
Mm.
think.
At the
If you
senior
manage it.
center, they
Right.
sold the CPA as only $40.
Right.
that your
Yeah,
taxes
wow.
are only gonna go
Yeah.
up $40.
Right.
But you know, that's not absolutely true.
And I know it's not
It all
true.
depends
Yeah.
on your tax bill and the house you live in, so it's not, it has really nothing, there's no, you can throw out averages and things like that, but
I
it's
think
gonna,
he was.
You know what's
pretty-
really sad about that delivery was it was definitely agenda driven, like a lot of things in this town. But the other thing is that they didn't talk about the circuit breaker tax break.
Oh, the community president, the electricity.
No,
No,
no, no,
no,
no,
no.
this is,
This-
this is a
the
tax
senior-
break for seniors.
the senior
Well,
circuit
actually,
breaker.
I don't, is it for
Oh.
seniors? No, it's for people whose taxes exceed a certain percentage of their income.
Mhm.
And they
Oh,
get
okay.
a
And there is-
rebate on their taxes.
Right.
Um,
And
yeah.
there is a specific one for seniors
So
on
the-
top of.
The
where
town
circuit
gets their
breaker.
taxes,
Mhm.
but the individual gets the rebate on their tax return next year.
If they ask.
The circuit breaker, they gotta fill out a form.
Mhm.
But,
Right. It's a
you know,
separate-
they're
separate
not
form
telling
on
you
your
what the
taxes.
breaks are, they're just saying, I want, I want, I want. They're not saying, well, if you do this, maybe you can be benefited by that.
Mm, yeah.
Okay, that's
I
my
didn't know
5
about
cents.
that.
No,
Yeah.
it's- it's
But
kinda-
Circuit breaker, look it up,
Yeah.
put it on the definition.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now, I had, next on the agenda was correspondence. We had an email come in. They are, it's time for Comcast contract to come up again.
Comcast?
Comcast.
Oh,
Comcast has a contract. They're
can't wait to
they're-
see that.
having the cable committee get together, and they're looking, one of the options, one of the requirements is somebody from finance or somebody related to finance. that
Dave,
we
wanna
would
be on
recommend.
it?
How about you, Dave?
Yeah, Dave, how do you feel about Comcast?
So it's the cable.
Is it a state committee?
No, it's a town committee.
Town committee.
For town contracts with Comcast. Today it's with Comcast. It's,
Don't you find it strange though that, I mean, we have in Pepperell, in Downton, we have, the Comcast, but in
Yeah.
Pepperell, they have, I don't know what they have over there now, I can't remember.
They have,
But we can't
Spectrum.
we can't watch something from Pepperell. Because we don't get Spectrum. There's no channel in
What do you mean?
between.
There's nobody else we can go to except Comcast.
if you wanna go
Go to-
cable.
If you wanna go cable, I mean, I thought there were rules of the United States government about that.
Well, isn't Spectrum a cable? I mean.
yeah, that's charter. It's-
Oh, they're charter.
It's charter.
Charter/Spectrum.
I worked where we made bullets and weapons.
Oh, okay. You weren't talking. You weren't taking prisoners.
Like the
We
last
sold equipment
meeting
to
for the school committee, they said that we'd be able to watch it on Channel
Oh,
9.
yeah.
Like, including the Gatling guns up at GE.
Because
And that
Because
was
it's on-
a great
it's on
video.
Charter's
Yeah,
Channel
right,
9?
because I was a
Okay.
it wasn't I, so I turned
Oh,
around,
it
get
didn't work.
cartoons, you know.
No, they couldn't. So what was the difference?
I had great videos of the Gatling gun.
So Comcast has a contract
So,
coming up with
They-
us.
they have a
And we
contract
can
coming up.
actually negotiate, there's a two-way street, let's talk it out.
Yeah, I would say, and, you know, pieces of it's kind of like, and,
Hmm.
Is Comcast our only option, or when their contract like ends, did we go out to the
Who?
cable world and ask like,
Well,
I don't know,
Pepperell and Downton, we don't have
Verizon
the
or?
same people.
You Spectrum.
yeah.
Or is
No,
this
but
like,
Downton is what?
Probably like the lines are owned by
I would-
Comcast or something,
Yeah, the
Yeah.
lines is, and
Probably owned by
so
the
you may
telephone
have
company,
to
like
sell,
AT&T.
sell the whole works. you know,
Yeah, like
so-
Unitel.
so-
It would be, you could change cable companies, but it would be difficult because Comcast owns all the cable that's running through the
Right.
town.
So,
So
And
somebody
so they're
else,
not gonna just let Charter jump on their cables.
Yeah.
So Charter would have to come in and lay their own cables
or
or
rent
buy the
from
cables,
cable.
or buy the cables from
Cable.
Comcast.
and nobody's gonna do
And
that.
nobody's gonna do that. I mean, because
Right.
really the best option would be to have them both,
right,
Oh.
and then
Right.
you have a choice.
and then you'd have a
You have
choice.
competition.
But,
That's expensive.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
you know, I
But then you
mean,
run
so
double
does
running
Charter, does Comcast pay us or do we pay them as a town?
As a town, we only pay for the services we use from them.
Okay, so we pay for the local access channels.
Sure,
No.
But we get money
It's
back
not-
from them,
Oh,
don't we?
okay, so when I say we pay for the services, the internet and everything we're using for now,
Okay,
just like a home,
Yeah.
we're paying business rates for the
Right.
services we use.
okay,
So the contract the contract with them is the ability to sell to residents in town.
Right.
And so they get the revenue from the town and they will put together a fund, PEG access, the PEG access account. So out of their revenues, they put aside money that comes back to Townsend. With that money, it goes into the TCAM
So we.
pocket.
So we can't put it into trash.
No, we can't put it in the trash. It is specifically for, the money that they give back out of their revenues is
Specifically for TCAM,
for the, which is the cable access.
which is more cable
Yeah.
access,
Yeah.
which is really
Cable
giving it
access.
to themselves, like roundabout way
Yeah.
of getting it
Um,
back. Okay.
Well,
understand.
it gives the, it gives TCAM the ability and the equipment to record.
Okay, right.
Store our systems.
Right.
For meetings and,
So
Yeah.
is TCAM
Yeah.
a town entity
it
or
is
is
not,
it a private entity?
I'd say private entity. It's kind of like, it's not necessary. It is related to as Townsend, but it is not under, it's supporting.
Are they gonna give us a
Townsend.
budget? Maybe that's my question.
No, they don't usually give the budget the money. And again, right now, with the access money, we're just an intermediary of taking it in, holding it, and then giving it to them.
Oh, finally.
We might, the next one, do we want to get out of the business of being in between TCAM and Comcast and let them just go?
Oh,
direct?
work it out themselves.
Right, well, rather than the money come into the town and then we have to have a special article, a special.
Right, to disperse it, like added to
Right.
service, local
Yeah.
services, okay, I understand. That's
So,
interesting,
so,
Don,
so,
yeah.
so the contract with Comcast doesn't cost the town money.
Right,
And
it's,
it also doesn't gain the town money.
right, it's the ability for services that maybe come up. If, with the amount of seniors we have, is there a way to put in a discount for seniors on the cable bill?
There should be.
Yeah, it's kind of like, that, and again, depending on income, you have the broadband access, discounts that you can apply for. So it's kind of like.
Oh, income driven, yeah.
There are some income driven ones, but, is there the opportunity for additional, just, between.
Did
the
you
end
say yes?
users?
No, I did not say
No,
yes.
But I heard you. Didn't you, Ann?
But again, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody, if we know somebody and want to appoint them as being the finance committee representative.
And you thought you wanted to come to this. meeting.
That's what you get for showing up, right?
She won't be back.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Do you want to think about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we can get you a little more information.
Okay, that's.
Yeah.
Um,
So we'll take on board
but
that.
I think that's sort of a low, low time investment, probably.
I know, I guess I'm trying to think, I mean, what,
How often and what?
what, as a finance committee representative, no matter who that is,
Right.
what are they really, what's the
What's the
stakes?
role?
What's the
Yeah.
stakes of being there, really? Is the stakes really only trying to limit their cable cost increases that they levy on the town?
I think so, being part of the team, but,
I mean, I get, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean,
let's see if I
I'm not
can.
negotiating money that the town is giving out or that the town is
Sounds getting
getting.
in, yeah.
So,
But you're probably
what's the-
gonna look at services. It's gonna be
Right.
negotiating services.
so it's negotiating service,
So
is
services.
negotiating pay rates, basically cost rates.
Oh, the
What they're
liaison
gonna-
has a question.
Oh, okay, sorry, I was just looking up the posting on the
But,
website.
It would definitely be.
I was just wondering if you want my email for you.
Oh,
I
yeah,
would,
give me the email, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, put it right down there.
Okay.
Get Cindy King,
So-
so we don't get her mixed up.
CAC Cable Advisory Committee. And again, I think there's even somebody.
Oh, there it is, a vacancy on the Cable Advisory Committee.
Oh,
It has
okay,
5
what does it
vacancies.
say?
5 vacancies.
I vacancies.
Yeah,
It's got
Because
five
Where does
it's
it
not
say
an
that?
ongoing,
Was
For the
created
content?
to assist the cable licensing process. Terms from. set up contests and
So are they negotiating cost of the
The next contract.
service or?
Assist in
it's
the
almost like
licensing.
doing the open space plan that's been going on for like 5 years now.
Do not ever ask me again. I will never be on that again.
And, yeah,
done.
so,
I'm waiting for the
that's about
final
all I
approval.
had.
You're all by
on this.
yourself
It's
too,
kinda like-
now, right?
Pretty
Everyone else
much,
is either,
pretty
you know,
much.
moved or gone or
And
died or
it's gonna
whatever.
be established by
The 15th of January.
15th of January. so we
What
have
about
to-
it? 15, this
Well,
should be established.
we
no
have to have our member assigned
By then,
by then.
Oh,
So,
okay.
okay,
All right,
by the
well,
15th, so you
okay,
have,
we have-
you
we
have,
have
you have a
time.
month.
Mr. Chairman? Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, if I may, this is Laura Schifrin.
Yeah.
I
Hi,
don't see you.
Don, you're doing a great job. I just gonna explain this particular committee. It was voted almost 5 years ago, but not acted upon. Maybe it was 4 years ago. This is what was explained at the Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Okay.
When we reaffirmed the appointment.
Yeah.
And the difference between this one and the first motion that they had made to create this is there was originally a school board committee member, but because they are no longer into the school, they used to have a studio in the school.
Correct.
Where they,
Oh.
so they had more interaction then. That stopped actually before the 5 years, probably before they actually came up with
I was
this.
Yeah.
So we
I-
have, the contract is going to be up in October of 2025. We originally talked about having the representatives by February, but when we saw that it was October versus December, then we moved it to January. I'm thinking that Dave Funioli will be on as the TCAM representative, and so he can be very informative to the committee. There's also an at-large member. Library trustee, that's what we replaced the school with, the library trustee, so that they could have some input from the senior center and the library. So I don't think it's going to be a lot of heavy lifting once the committee gets put together.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Okay, yeah,
That
no,
was- that was very
it's good.
informative,
Yeah, I totally forgot about the school part. It's kinda
Yeah.
like that was
And
Um,
Sandra appreciates that.
history, yeah.
That was good. So Dave's on it. That's
Okay.
good to know.
Yeah, I would expect. It's kind of like,
TCAM.
PCAM, I believe Steve Sheldon is,
Oh, is he on it too?
he's part of the TCAM and Lisa Lalonde, I think, part. We can find out.
Right.
Likely one of those that have been part of it, but Dave has a wealth of knowledge on
On the cable,
the cable. and
cable
how it's
guy.
Working and he's being silent well, watching us here, kind of. So,
Oh my goodness, you came to the end of the,
yeah, we came to the end of it. I just,
and we didn't take one vote.
we did not take a vote today.
Nope.
Kind of like, I don't,
Is it okay? You're
yeah,
all right.
it's kind of, yeah, so the last one, I throw it out there because I'm on the audit committee and the properties committee, so I'm already on a couple, and,
It's your
that
fault.
we have assigned to, yeah, and,
Okay, just good to
And-
know.
yeah, Carol is doing,
Planning board in open space.
and you had
But open
accepted
space-
our.
Oh, and that capital
And capital
capital
plan.
improvement.
Oh, you're on
Capital
capital improvement too?
Yeah.
So
She's
much,
good.
right?
You're from public, you're from general public. So Carol
It
is
was
the,
from financial.
is
So
the.
do I have a position?
Would you like, what?
Well,
We have one right here, the cable committee.
I want to be on that. I don't like Comcast. I
No,
wouldn't
we-
be a good representative.
I was gonna say, we hadn't voted, but with everything you've been doing, we'll bring it up next meeting because it's not on the agenda. But
Oh,
would
okay.
you consider, we don't have a vice chair, just in case that.
Vice chair for what?
For this committee.
For the finance committee.
I know you're,
Are you the vice
well,
chair,
no, the
Dave?
vice, no. it kind of, so
Okay.
we'll leave
Oh,
that
so we'll
open,
talk
but
about, so that.
yeah, I mean,
We'll
you
do
know,
lunch.
everybody's kind of new.
Gotcha. Hmm.
So, but I don't miss many, but if there's any that I happen to miss, the vice chair
Would speak. Okay.
would speak, call the meeting to order,
Mhm.
run through the agenda. and-
Do we have,
I can follow downstairs.
did you get an update on the Excel file that you emailed us, in early November that had September and October's
Right.
actually expenditure?
I had just received one yesterday. I spoke with the assistant town treasurer, came in, last evening.
That was the Excel that we
Yeah.
went over,
That was the Excel we went over,
Right.
which is similar to the BVA. So the BVA.
the BVA.
Right,
Yeah.
so can you send that out then, when you get a
Mhm.
chance?
What's the BVA again?
Budget variance
Budget
analysis.
variance
Analysis.
Analysis. It's kind of- Very good. It's kind of like practice. It's kind of take it in.
Mhm.
So do
10
we-
times.
Analysis, ANA.
So other than do we have another meeting in December that we're planning or not?
Actually, I'm sorry, I skipped over that. We had posted an agenda for Thursday, the 12th.
That's
That's
Thursday. Thursday.
Yeah,
That's this
That's all we're
Thursday.
going.
that's the board of.
Oh, that's the
one
Board
of
of
the-
Selectmen
That's
one
the
at
board-
11
it's a-
o'clock in the morning.
It's a joint
Oh,
with Board of
don't
Selectmen.
scare me.
Yeah,
There's so
I
much
can't,
going
I
on.
can't make that one.
No,
Because of
Again,
the
this-
morning.
this is.
No, because I have to work.
That's
Yeah.
what it was.
We miss-
Right.
Some people have to work.
No, I have to work
Oh, do
too.
you have to work too?
Actually,
Okay.
I'm taking off. How long is that one gonna be, do you think?
It could be a while.
7 hours.
Because
It can't take 7
Yeah.
hours.
they, Nelson is working on a very specific set of changes, but it could be a while before.
So can we
It
sneak out
could be a
if,
while.
if I show up, I can,
And again, this meeting,
Mhm.
and we're using the, select board, Zoom link, just so we're in the same meeting. This was to cover us in the event that we have a quorum there. If we only have 3 people there, it's not a quorum.
We have 4.
Oh, I'm gonna be there.
Right.
I'll probably go, but I
And
might
Joanna,
not
you
be able
going?
to stay if they go for hours and hours. I
No,
may
we
have
can
to
leave at
leave
any time,
after.
right? Does that break the quorum?
It would
Yeah.
break the quorum, but if we
Oh.
never
That's all
have,
right,
but if we never have a quorum to start,
as long as we don't have to vote.
right, as long
Okay.
as when there's nothing on here that, it says folks may be taken on the ARPA projects, but we're not voting on the ARPA projects.
Right.
That's all select board, so this is an information.
So it's just informational for us too.
Right,
Yeah.
it's to cover us on the open meeting
Mhm.
law.
I get it.
Okay.
We did that with the HTC for the
Mhm.
appointments.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right, and it, we don't want to violate anything.
Of course, not,
Okay.
right.
So that's what it's there for.
So that's a meeting the 12th.
That's the 12th.
And then the next time we meet is,
Well,
Well, we had,
Oh, that was the,
yeah, we had only.
John, are you gonna come in on a meeting on the 11th?
Jerry,
The 12th.
supposed to silence your phone with these things.
I'll call you back.
Yeah.
the
Okay.
next,
The next meeting is the 14th of January, so we do get it in just before,
The warrant closes.
well,
Oh, no, the warrant closes December 18th, right?
yes, yeah, the warrant closes on the 18th, but we only had a meeting scheduled for the 14th of January. I was thinking for the cable advisory committee.
Oh,
But, yeah, we need to, review the warrant articles that are being presented.
okay, so,
so when do you want to
When do
meet
we-
again then?
oh, so when the warrant closes, how long does it take to get the warrant articles in our hands to see them?
Well, actually, I'd like to see them before they close, because if there's any changes that we would recommend, it's too late to change them after the fact. Although we have seen them and made recommendations for changes, and so the motion on the floor is a little different than the article that's presented.
So
That,
the warrant's open, they're working on it right now, they're
Yeah.
trying to get the language all down for all the articles.
right,
How does that work? If the articles are being written now, but we're not getting to see the budgets until,
Well, this is articles for FY '25. This is not FY.
oh, FY '25?
Yeah, this is all FY '25 stuff that they're preparing.
So this is the winter, this is like a special town meeting in the winter?
In the winter.
It's a fall town meeting.
Yeah.
In the spring.
Yeah, they generally call it the fall, even if it's in the
Yeah,
winter.
even though-
But
Oh, so it's not anything to do with the budget,
well,
the 2026
it's
budget?
not to do with the 2026 budget.
Okay.
These are FY '25.
Okay,
These are
So-
supplemental items for 25.
Right,
basically.
so, and the idea is that we're gonna have free cash certified, so we can have these articles and know how much money there is.
Will all the free cash be certified then?
And generally, it's mid-December.
Okay, so
But
pretty soon.
Yeah, pretty soon it should be. It's kind of like, but,
next week.
well, that's the typical, but doesn't mean every year is gonna be the same. The latest I've seen has been the end of December. So by doing this, we're probably writing warrant articles in anticipation
Oh,
that it will be.
oh,
They'll close the warrant, they'll post it 2 weeks before the meeting, but the motions on the floor generally support, the warrant articles that were written.
okay,
So
got it.
we still have the ability, even if we see them after it's closed, that we can impact what the motion wording is.
So do we want to have a meeting earlier than the 14th just for the warrant article?
Well, that,
Mr.
Well,
Chairman,
we have the warrant, uh-oh.
I'm sorry, if I may, regarding the warrants, the close is going to be the 17th at the Board of Selectmen's meeting. So a lot of those, a number of things that are coming up are going to be placeholders, like a bylaw change, which may not have all of its verbiage yet. But again, before, and of course, there'll be public hearings on January 13th for any of those bylaw changes.
Mhm.
Other than that, the financial ones should be before us, I think, Tuesday night, the 17th. And then it closes on the 18th after we get to discuss on the 17th.
So
But
should we
that
be at
doesn't mean that we have all the verbiage yet, okay? They just need a placeholder, and so that's how we'll line it up. But there'll be a hearing before and an explanation before the actual meeting on the 28th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A special town meeting on December 28th?
January 28th.
January 28th.
Oh, January 28th.
Okay.
So we just need a clarification on all that timeline.
Mhm. Yeah, and again, kind of, we can dial in or come in person to the selectmen's.
Do we have to post it, or can we just go as individuals?
If you have a quorum, you have to.
Well,
But you won't know if you have a quarantine.
we're not,
Cover it.
we wouldn't be voting on it. It's kind of like it'd be there as questions of the general public. At that point, we wouldn't be there as the finance committee with a joint with the selectmen.
So it's not a
On
joint meeting.
Tuesday, on Tuesday, I don't, on the 17th, I wouldn't
Okay.
expect it to be.
All right, so you just covered it with that
I
post,
can't be there on the 17th, so.
Okay,
December 17th.
yes. No, it's kind of like you can watch that on YouTube or on Channel 9 if you're.
Catch the sequel.
Tell my wife maybe she'll watch it.
Oh, there you
Yep,
go. She can, can't she type
They're
it,
not
or
there
whatever
on
they call it now?
Thursday.
Mhm.
What do they
And
call
I'll
it?
Yeah.
call the- and whether we have a
What do they call it?
Well, I don't know, you,
Yeah,
Or do you want me to
DVR.
change the call?
Yeah, DVR.
You
Digital
can
video.
probably,
Yeah.
kind of like you've had experience with it. So.
I don't know if you can,
And I'm
I don't know,
Yeah, and again, vice chair is.
Yeah.
does the channel, does
Oh, it'll
the,
be on YouTube.
yeah.
But not live, it's not live. on
Not
YouTube.
live.
Right.
That's our-
Cindy
that's
King
our-
will be there, they'll be live.
um,
She puts hers right up.
But it's not live then, is it?
Yeah, she
Not
did.
live, it's
She
not live.
done.
Yeah, it's live within the next hour or so, but it's not live.
Oh, you mean stream,
Stream,
oh,
it's not like
okay,
stream.
right.
It's kind of- it's posted after the fact, usually 2-3 days, from what I've seen. Okay, sorry. Let's go along, but, so I think on the 7th, and we'll have an opportunity to review them Take a look, and then we'll be making the recommendation sheet before the 28th, the meeting on the 28th. Okay, I've gone through the agenda. Anything additional for future agendas we want to touch, or I know we have a couple of items for working, getting the glossary out of the book and getting posted, that kind of thing. So we'll work.
You mean a workshop for the glossary?
Now we can, I'll take it and work it.
Okay, and let us
You
know.
have it electronically?
I have it electronically. so-
Oh,
Oh, you do? Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
well, yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, that's how we were able to.
Now, I sent you a little,
Yeah, okay, so correspondence, you sent me a letter.
I sent you a letter, okay, it was,
Yep.
letter. Well,
Yep.
yeah, okay, letter.
It's
Let's go with
kind of
letter.
like, and it didn't have a chance, but under general correspondence, it's in there, so,
But I didn't, share it with anyone else.
okay. Okay, so you want my input back?
Oh, no, I want you to share it. I want you to be
Okay.
the deliverer.
Okay, I can do that. I will distribute the, email from Mary Jane, and I'll take a look at it and discuss it.
Thank you,
Or
Don.
maybe
Now, it's
not-
just a
not the
rough
next meeting,
draft.
only 12.
It's just a rough
Yep, no,
draft.
it's an idea generator.
It's an idea generator. Yeah.
Put a brainstorm and we can do it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
Move that we adjourn the meeting?
Yeah. 8:10.
8:10. I'll second that.
Okay, and we have a motion to adjourn at 8:10 in a second. Roll call vote.
Carol Bazikis, yes.
Dave Walker, yes.
Mary Jane Churchville, yes.
Hey, Carol Foss says yes.
Don Hayes, yes. It's unanimous. We're adjourned.